What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5 rupees chapter 75 Convince Robin, let's go to Sabodi Archipelago. Fireworks bloom outside the window, reflecting Robin's surprised, immature face. Red and black pupils, a little bit at a loss, because Leno's reaction was beyond her expectation. She let out a puzzled exclamation and stared at Leno. Why, doesn't he know what the name Nico Robin means? Robin couldn't help saying, Nico Robin, the world government offers a reward of 79 million Baileys, he is called the son of the devil. Well, I know, and then? Leno looked relaxed and casual, as if he had heard someone named Away or Shao Li with common names. Robin was dumbfounded. What happened? Doesn't this person know her worth? Since she escaped from Ohara, she has been wandering constantly. Those people, including relatives who took her in. After knowing her identity, he only wanted to exchange her for money, or hoped to use her to achieve a certain purpose. Betrayal and conspiracy surround her, thus forming her sensitive, suspicious and black-bellied character. No one has ever been so indifferent after knowing her identity, still looking at her with the eyes of ordinary people. Why? Robin asked strangely. Leno said, what why? Why aren't you surprised, or have other reactions? Could it be that you already knew my identity? Robin said. Leno smiled and said, when Kuzan looked at you, I was skeptical, but I didn't think too much about it. Robin nodded slightly. She knew that at that moment, Leno seemed to look at her twice. The story between her and Kuzan, only she and Kuzan know. If Kuzan doesn't tell him, Leno can't know. Leno said so, but dispelled some of her doubts. As for why you are not surprised? Leno asked back. Why should I be surprised? As I said just now, you are nothing more than a normal person, and 977 is less. Since you are also a normal person, there is no need to be surprised, right? Are you Nico Robin? So what? Maybe you carry something. What value exists? However, to me, you are just one of the candidate hunters who have just passed the assessment, someone who is chasing goals and dreams. Here, we are all the same. Everyone has a past and some dark secrets. Look, you are actually very ordinary, there is nothing to make a fuss about. Ordinary? Robin looked weird. It was the first time someone used this word on her. Because she has shown a good learning talent since she was a child, she has become famous in Ohara. And because of her devil fruit, she was rejected by her peers and became a freak. Then, he was wanted by the world government as a son of the devil. Such a person, ordinary? Leno seemed to see her doubts, stepped back, leaned on the sofa, and said, listen, even with superhuman abilities, you are still a human being. It's the same as running fast, studying well, and being strong. The ability and value you have is just a characteristic. You just have to accept it as a personality and live it positively, and no one will deny your existence. Robin looked thoughtfully at Leno. Perhaps staying is an option. After passing the examination, the alternate hunters will start a 7-day study, and the designer will customize uniforms for them. The Hunters Guild and DOSKOIPANDA have signed a cooperation agreement, and they will be responsible for the clothes of the Hunters Guild in the future. Moji from Acrobatic Island contacted us. Recently, there have been frequent disappearances of children on the island. We need help. A wealthy businessman in Zailuobu village wants to hire a hunter as a guard. The king of the Kili Kingdom hopes that the Hunter Guild will help solve the gang of pirates entrenched on their island. With the start of the Hunters Guild, the prestige accumulated before has been turned into various tasks and sent over. We need to set up strongholds in various places, evaluate the level of the task, and then send hunters of the corresponding level. Those who came to the islands to participate in the assessment but failed, contact them and join the logistics team to be in charge of the strongholds in various places, but they will not be granted a license, but they can draw a part of the commission from the task. At the same time, those kingdoms and islands that wish to cooperate with us should also mobilize. Because everyone is inexperienced, in the beginning, mistakes are inevitable. After a short period of chaos, the Hunter Guild gradually stabilized. After special training, the alternate hunters formed a team of 2 or 3 and began to go to various places in East Blue to perform the first mission. In a blink of an eye, in late October, there is still half a month before the agreed battle with Kaido. Seeing that the Hunter Guild is on the right track, Leno sets out for the Sabodi Archipelago. His goal this time is Sabodi Archipelago's newcomer mentor, the last NPC in Novice Village, Pluton, Rayleigh. Leno needs to upgrade Conqueror's Haki, Elijah. This is the map of the world, plus, Robin went to the paper and drew 2 capital symbols. In Ohara's Tree of Omniscience, there is a bronze planet sculpture with a pirate world and satellites around it. Robin still remembers the general appearance of Pirate World. Connect the 2, signs 3-dimensionally to form the whole planet. Is that so? Kuina, Uda, Chloe, Luel, and Buggy all have the same expressions as before, and they have become curious babies. If you compare the 2 horizontal lines to the Grand Line, next to the 2 horizontal lines is the wide calm belt. And these 4 areas are Eastern Blue, Western Blue, Southern Blue, and Northern Blue. commonly known as the East, South, West, and North Four Seas. The two vertical lines are connected in a circle, separating the Grand Line and forming two sections, the Red Line of Paradise and New World. Then, the Grand Line and Red Line intersect to form 2 points, which are Upside Down Mountain and Marijoy. Then, enter the Grand Line from 4 seas and see 3 ways. First, the Upside Down Mountain current soars to the sky. Ships from all over the world follow the current, climb up the Upside Down Mountain, and enter the first half of the Grand Line. Pirates from all over the world will basically follow this path. Second, cross the Calm Belt and go directly into an area of the Grand Line. However, this road is more dangerous than Upside Down Mountain. Inside the Calm Belt, on the one hand, everything is still, there is no wind, and ships cannot sail unless powered by something else. On the other hand, in the Calm Belt, there are super large sea kings living, and the huge body that can easily exceed a kilometer is a nightmare for any ship. Third, Marijoy. Marijoy, with a rushing ocean current similar to Upside Down Mountain, but with a smoother lift. Like this, use the water to lift the boat and turn over the mountain, and you can choose to go to Paradise, the Four Seas, or the New World. The ships of the world government and marine are spread all over the world, and this method is used. In addition, the member countries of the world government can also take this route to go to the Grand Line after passing the application and inspection. Robin paused. When she came to East Blue from West Blue, she sneaked into the merchant ships of the franchise countries and took the elevator. But she didn't say it. Her current identity is still Orovia. Leno doesn't mind, but it doesn't mean others don't mind. Her real identity is better kept secret for the time being. Upside Down Mountain, Calm Belt is too slow, take the elevator. Exactly, Sabaody Archipelago is right next to it. Leno looked at Kuzan, Crow, and Luwell and said, then, East Blue is here for you. The three nodded. Leno went to the Sabaody Archipelago this time, took Kuina and Buggy with him, and took the ship of the Kingdom of Oikot. Taking Kuina is to increase her knowledge. Bringing Buggy was partly due to his luck, and partly because he and Rayleigh had once been on the same boat. For the others, Kuzan needs to be in charge of Elijah, and Crow and Luwell are in charge of the operation of the Hunters Guild. Robin, exposing her too much is not a good thing. You can stay at the guild headquarters and help Luwell deal with some things. The relationship between the two is good. Uda, I am too young, and I have to learn music theory and other knowledge with Gordon. Leno promised her that he would take her out to sea when she was a few years older. Under the sun, the sea breeze is warm. Kuina doing knife swing drills. Buggy lay sprawled on the figurehead, sound asleep. Merchant ships flying the flag of the world government don't have to worry about encountering pirates. In East Blue, who would dare to rob such a ship? Unless, it is a thief with no eyes. Leno was sitting on the side of the boat, fishing leisurely. Soon, one-tail red trout was caught by him. When I looked up, I saw a small boat floating on the sea, and there was a person on it, waving a flag with $D$ written on it. Hey, someone is calling for help. There were crew members who saw him. Do you want to be saved? The captain came to Leno and asked, Mr. Leno, do you see? Save him up, Leno said. Okay. After a while, the boat approached, and the man on it was pulled up. Plop. The man kneels when he gets on the boat. He seemed so moved that he burst into tears. Thank you. You guys are really good people. I have been drifting at sea for 10 days. Can you kind people give me something to eat? Seeing this, the people on the boat quickly took out food and put it in front of him. He grabbed the food, fed it into his mouth, and said gratefully, really, thank you so much. Are you caught in a storm? The captain asked cautiously. The man wolfed down the food, took a breath, and said, no, I met a pirate. Pirates? The man grinned and said, yes, pirates, the Krieg pirates, they're nearby. His words just fell. Call out, a salvo, 12 shells, flew towards the merchant ship, whistling in midair. What? What happened? The sleeping Buggy moved his ears, opened his eyes, saw the shells in front of his eyes, and was so frightened that he fell apart. The shells did not directly attack the merchant ship, but fell on the surroundings, as if they were only deterring the merchant ship. Then, a ship hoisting the pirate flag, from behind an island reef, sailed out. Point 0. Pirates. There are pirates. The alarm bell on the ship was loud, and the crew either took swords or prepared to fight back. Boom. Suddenly, the man who had just been rescued kicked the commanding captain away, making the ship quiet for a moment. Faced with a pair of surprised and puzzled eyes, the man laughed loudly. Pirate? I'm a pirate, stupid guys. Ha 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 ha. He laughed loudly, then stretched out his hand and tore off the cloak he was wearing, revealing his upper body wearing golden armor. I am Krieg, the captain of the Krieg pirates. You guys, surrender to me. Krieg clenched his fists, laughed arrogantly, and said, you will surrender to me sooner or later, it's just a matter of time. What? On the figurehead. The torn Buggy looked at the arrogant Krieg, with question marks on his forehead. Hey, is this guy an idiot? It must be. In Buggy's heart, he complained crazily. Not just Buggy. The other crew members on board had the same look and expression. Hey, shouldn't you be scared? Are you screaming? Panicking? What's going on? Krieg stared. Pirate, I'm the great pirate Krieg, aren't you afraid? Krieg was dumbfounded. The quiet atmosphere and the clown-like eyes gave him a heavy blow in his heart, and he felt a sense of frustration spontaneously. Krieg followed everyone's gaze, turned around, and looked at the man fishing on the side of the boat. It turns out that their confidence is you, watch me fly you. Krieg clashed his fists and walked towards Leno. Leno was not interested in him. Enough fuss? What? Enough trouble, let's go. With a light flick of the fishing rod in Leno's hand, the hook hung on Krieg's body. Krieg was still in a daze. Let's go. Leno's fishing rod and line were wrapped around armament Haki, and Krieg was pulled up, throwing the rod hard. An irresistible force made Krieg unprepared, and when he reacted, he was already in midair. How is this going? Krieg was shocked. In front of his eyes, a ship appeared. Pirate ship? It's his pirate ship. Hey, isn't it Boss Krieg? How did he fly back? Hey, yes, we're going to hit you. Steer the rudder. The crew on board, watching Krieg falling like a meteor, were also stunned. Boom. The powerful Krieg shell hit with one hit, broke the mast of the pirate ship, and smashed the ship into 2 pieces. Sharp. As expected of the president of the Hunter, because you were amazing. Haha, these pirates are really unlucky. Seeing that the pirate ship was destroyed and those pirates fell into the water, the crew laughed and looked at Leno with admiration. Because the time to defeat the Krieg pirates was too short, the system didn't prompt, and Leno didn't pay much attention. The ordinary talent now doesn't mean much to him. View from above. The elevator at Marijoy and the upside-down mountain are like 2 points of symmetry. After the stationed world government officials, Marine interrogated 4.8. The merchant ship sailed into the elevator smoothly. With the injection of the sea current, the merchant ship began to lift step by step, and finally came to a flat open land and merged into the river. Ships going to West Blue, South Blue, North Blue, Paradise, and New World are diverted to different lifts. And down with the current down, it's interesting. The formation of Calm Belt, Grand Line, and Red Line is as if they were man-made and deliberately made. In the elevator, Leno saw the huge alpine mangrove tree. Its trunk goes straight up to the sky, covering a large area of the sea, and even if you look up, you can't see the whole tree crown clearly. And as the boat descended, the huge mangrove tree seemed to be getting taller and taller, and finally even the trunk could not be seen. There is the Sabodi archipelago. Buggy crossed his arms and introduced to Kuina with great interest. The whole island grows on its aerial roots. Sabodi archipelago, also known as Island of Failure and Island of Restart. Kuina asked curiously. Why? The journey of the lift and the islands made of huge mangroves are very new experiences for Kuina. Uncharted seas, unknown worlds. She also got a little excited. Buggy pretended to be profound, and said, Sabodi archipelago is the destination of the pirates who enter the paradise from the upside-down mountain in the 4 seas, and it is also the place they must pass through to enter the New World. Grand Line's sea currents, wind direction, islands, etc. are completely different from the 4 seas. The weather here is harsh and changeable, and the magnetic field is disordered. So, in the Paradise section, from the moment of entry, there are only 7 routes going forward, converging at Sabodi. However, if they want to enter the New World, they must enter the sea area under 10,000 meters after coating, pass the Fishman Island, and pass through the Dark Passage. Every time, it is a test of life and death. Too many people fail and die in the sea. Saying goodbye to the merchant ship, the 3 of Leno boarded a boat bound for the Sabodi archipelago and approached the huge mangrove tree. Chapter 76 Enthusiastic Momosagi Vice Admiral, kick 3 rounds with long legs. Grand Line. In the vast sea, a tourist boat sails slowly. Passengers, please pay attention, please don't get too close to the side of the ship, so as not to fall into the water. On our left is Naval Headquarters, Marineford, and you can see that Marines' warships are frequent. So, this section of the sea is safe, please rest assured. On board. The pretty tour guide, holding a horn, yelled at the passengers on board. Most of the people on the boat were nobles from all over the world. Dress up, bejeweled. The world is never fair. Some people are still busy with life. Some people do not hesitate to spend a lot of money to travel to the Grand Line through Marijoy. For those entering the Grand Line from Upside Down Mountain, the destination they have to go through untold hardships to reach is just a journey caused by some people's interests. Certainly, criticism is criticism. It does not prevent Leno from enjoying the seeds brought by the power of time. Hey, this is corruption. Leno leaned on the bubble chair and took a sip of Sabodi Archipelago's specialty juice. Buggy is sunken in the bubble, squinting, enjoying himself. That's right, the life of the rich is really beautiful. Back then, the captain and I fled everywhere, how could we be so comfortable? Corruption, really corrupt, we must resist, reject. The beautiful Miss Murlock came over and said, Sir, do you need to press the service? Want. The mouth says rejection, but the body is still very honest. Leno stood up and came to the railing. In the swimming pool provided for VIP customers, Kuina swims vigorously. The sea breeze blows, the blue sea, seabirds fly past, a quiet, peaceful, no danger, no gunpowder smoke. This means that the scenery seen by the people at the top will definitely not be the same as that seen at the bottom. Therefore, there is a sentence, why not eat minced meat? Ridiculous. Do not, in fact, this is what some people think. This is the upper deck of the cruise ship. Courteous guests, beautiful girls, calm sea, everything is so beautiful. Only the marine warship passing by from time to time reminds people why this waterway is so safe. Leno remembers that after the Summit War, Naval Headquarters 20 moved from Marineford, and Sabaody Archipelago was completely rotten. The voice of the tour guide on the next floor came up. Did you see it? That giant tree is the largest mangrove tree in the world, you are so cute. The Sabaody Archipelago is formed because of the tree roots, which are always exposed to the water. Look, those bubbles, and the bubble in my hand, is the biggest feature of Sabaody Archipelago. It is the root of the alpine mangrove tree. Due to respiration, it secretes a special natural resin. As the air expands, it forms bubbles and flies to the sky. However, these bubbles are only suitable for the climate range of the archipelago mangrove. Once the bubbles leave the climate range of Sabaody Archipelago, the resin component will not be able to exert its full power and explode. Bubble cars, bubble Ferris wheels, houses built on bubbles. Bubble culture permeates every place in Sabaody Island. Visitors who need to buy, please. The tour guide is selling bubble products. Soon, the Sabaody Archipelago is getting closer, in the sun. The round bubbles one after another scatter colorful light, beautiful and charming. The silver-haired butler with a mustache came to remind the VIP customers that they were about to disembark. Sabaody Archipelago, composed of 79 trees, with numbers, each tree has towns and facilities. This ship is stopping at Area 65, all distinguished guests, please bring your salutes, thank you for your ride. In addition, this is a guide map about the various areas of the Sabaody Archipelago, as well as various help points, please be sure to keep it. Well then, I wish you all a pleasant journey. Give me a little more reminder, it is best not to go to Area 29. Why? Because it's a lawless place. Pirates, bounty hunters, slaves, and slave traders are gathered here, and even Marines are unwilling to go there. Huh? Then why didn't the world government, Marine, arrest those people? Sabaody Archipelago, right under the eyes of the world government and Marine. How can there be lawlessness? Some people wonder. The mustache butler pinched his beard. He reminded with a smile, dear guest, it's time for you to disembark. Area 65, exit, the VIP channel is separate from the ordinary channel. As a VIP guest, there are special people to guide them. They can disembark at ease, then take a bubble car and go to the high-end hotel they have booked to rest. Hey, very comfortable. Leno, Kuina, and Buggy came outside, and they were greeted by the Marine stationed at the Sabaody Archipelago. See, Marine. Buggy probably hasn't broken free from the mentality that he had to run when he met Marine on Roger's boat. Suddenly seeing Marine waiting in full force, he stared in shock, his tongue was tied and torn apart, and his little heart was pounding. The mice panicked when they saw the cat. Kuina looked curiously, because standing in front of all the Marines was a tall female vice admiral. Around her waist, there is a Wu Wan, swordsman? Female swordsman? There was a flash of excitement in Kuina's eyes. Leno once told her that there are powerful female swordsmen in the world, and there are also women who become one of the 4 giants. Could the woman in front of me be the female swordsman Leno mentioned? Kuina hit each other. She doesn't have the same fear of Buggy towards Marine, but rather, she is eager to try. Guion sensed Kuina's excitement. She tilted her head and met Kuina's eyes. Information about Kuina comes to mind. Is that the female swordsman? Guion nodded slightly to Kuina. She turned to Leno. I'm Guion, in charge of guarding the Sabaody Archipelago. Leno smiled and said, Momosagi Vice Admiral, I've heard of your name. Marine is so flattered to welcome me. Welcome. Guion is upset. Who welcomes you? Naval Headquarters, from the Air Marshal to the low-level soldiers, wished they could give Leno a chug and return Kuzan. Guion was the one who witnessed it, and Kuzan resigned resolutely. She felt at the time that something was wrong with Kuzan. It wasn't until he resigned that he suddenly realized. But everything is already too late. After Kuzan left, she was annoyed for half a month. If she had found out earlier, she would have told Vice Admiral and Vice Admiral Garp about the incident. Perhaps, there is a turning point. Hey, Mad. Guion glared at Leno, and said, yes, welcome, you are very welcome. If you come to the headquarters as a guest, we will welcome you even more. She gritted her teeth, although she was smiling, but with that expression, she wanted to eat Leno. Okay. Leno smiled brightly. He didn't seem to understand Guion's irony, and said, after playing Kaido, if you have time, you must go for a walk. Tisk. Marine has a lot of talent. Sakazuki, Paluzalino, Sengoku, etc. Count the big sister in front of you. If you really go around, he is the strongest in the world. Humph. Guion's pretty face turned cold. Is this a provocation? Or declare war? Go to the headquarters. Roger, Golden Lion, 4 emperors, dare not speak like that. How arrogant, damn it, why would Kuzan lose to this kind of guy? Looking at Leno's smiling face, Guion felt angry. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't please your eyes. Damn. It was this shameless person who abducted Kuzan Vice Admiral, slapped Marine hard in the face, and turned them into a joke. Guillaume gritted his teeth and said, Leno, no matter what you do in Saboti Archipelago, I will follow you all the way. What? Buggy shivered. The other party is Marine Vice Admiral, follow him all the way. Buggy wiped his sweat, feeling cold in his heart. These guys, wouldn't they recognize him as Roger's crew? After Roger surrendered, the Roger pirates disbanded, but in the first few years, the world government never gave up on the pursuit of Roger's remnants. Back then, Buggy and Shanks separated, and in order to make ends meet, they had no choice but to commit themselves to the circus. Ha ha! Leno laughed suddenly, and said, Hey, it's really lucky to have Marine Vice Admiral as our tour guide. Huh? Buggy, Buggy is speechless, is this lucky? For Marine, Leno will know exactly the itinerary of his group without any surprises. They passed the elevator and reported their real names. If Marine can't pay attention, then the intelligence department can resign. He smiled slightly, looked at the bubble car, and said, Oh, that's not bad, Guillaume Vice Admiral, you know how to drive it. Leno glanced at Guillaume's long legs. It's a pity not to pedal 3 wheels. Huh? Driving? The Marine brought by Guillaume, all exclaimed. Clang. There was a rear admiral with a knife drawn. Bold. You guys, how rude are you to let such a beautiful Guillaume Vice Admiral drive for you? Damn it. Unforgivable. You humiliate our goddess Vice Admiral, I want to fight you, sign. Leno smiled and narrowed his eyes and said, Oh, it's so scary, do you want to do it? Kuina's eyes were sharp, and she pressed the knife slightly. Buggy had cold sweat on his brow, nervously digging into his inner pocket of his clothes, ready to throw buggy bombs at any time, and then run away. No, how can it be called running away? That's called a strategic retreat. The tense atmosphere filled the air, attracting the attention of people nearby. Who is that? Oh, it seems to be Marine Vice Admiral Momosagi Guillaume, which is very popular recently. No, what I'm talking about is the guy who confronted Guillaume Vice Admiral. I always feel a little familiar. Really? Wait, isn't that sign Hunter's Guild? Oh, yes, I saw it in the newspaper, Hunter Guild. Have you come to Saboti yet? Are you preparing for a big battle with Kaido? It's interesting to meet Guillaume Vice Admiral, but Kuzan didn't show up. It would be more interesting if Kuzan appeared. Because of Kuzan's resignation, Naval Headquarters quickly promoted 4 or 5 Vice Admirals including Guillaume, Cake, and Ghost Spider. Then there was a big cleanup. Sakazuki, Leno and other Marine generals arrested pirates everywhere. Guillaume and Kaji are Marine generals who performed well during the Great Qing campaign, and they are the focus of Marine's recent publicity. The page that was originally given to Kuzan was given to them. Not surprisingly, one of the two will take Kuzan's place. Hunter Guild. Not to mention, it has always been a hot spot in the news. And, one hot spot after another, the degree of attention has not declined. If you vote for the most topical person in 1511, Leno will definitely beat Shanks, Kaido, etc., and come out on top. Now, 2 popular characters are suddenly confronting each other, which is very eye-catching. Eye contact for a brief moment, although Guillaume really wanted to draw his sword and kill people. But after careful consideration, lift the hilt, you guys stop. A sweet smile bloomed on her face, and she said, Since President Leno invited me, how dare I refuse? What? Guillaume Vice Admiral, hateful. A group of generals wailed one after another, like a beloved object about to be thrown into the arms of others, looking at Leno with murderous intent. Obviously, the beautiful, elegant, and intellectual Guillaume has won everyone's favor not long after he took up the post of the resident commander of Saboti. I heard that Chadu Cake, who was promoted to Vice Admiral at the same time, would propose marriage every time he met Momosagi, which became a joke. Leno looked at them and said with a smile, Besides, these guys are not allowed to follow, it's really an eyesore. Guillaume smiled slightly and said, Good, Guillaume Vice Admiral. Guillaume snorted, This is an order. As soon as these words came out, the generals had no choice but to shut their mouths and salute. Yes. The boss of Bubblecar Rendell said tremblingly, Please. He looked at the tall and slender Guillaume and stepped on his own bubble tricycle. Take another look at the fierce Marines who are about to kill people. Oh, it has nothing to do with me. The bubble tricycle, except for the rider's position, has a double row and 4 seats at the back. However, Buggy refused to get in the car, feeling the killing intent of those Marine officers behind him. Buggy resolutely confessed. I prefer to ride a bike by myself rather than ride in a car. Buggy has taken a bubble car since the 300. This way, it's spacious. Kuina, do you sit in the front or the back? Leno asked. Kuina said. Get behind. She sat in the back row. Leno asked the boss, Hey, is your bubble car strong? Okay. Stare. Pairs of Marine generals stared at the boss. The boss wiped his sweat. Not strong. See, it can carry 3 tons. Clearly marked. He is also embarrassed to lie. Leno sat on it under the murderous eyes, and could clearly feel that the bubble car was being pushed down. So heavy. Guillaume glanced back. This guy, is it that heavy? Leno put his hands on the back of his head. He leaned back on the chair, with a look of enjoyment, looked at Guillaume and said, Guillaume Vice Admiral, can you go? HMPH. Where are you going? Guillaume asked. She can become a substitute for Admiral in the future, and her strength will naturally not be too bad, let alone a few tons, she can kick away a few tons. Where are you going? Leno sat up, took out the sightseeing guide issued by the ship, and asked Kuina, is there any place you want to go? Kuina glanced at the map, she was not familiar with this place, said, whatever? Leno said to Guillaume, whatever, follow your sister. Guillaume took a deep breath, calmed down, and expressed his true purpose. What are you doing in Sabodi Archipelago? Play. Guillaume snorted coldly, she didn't believe it. Facing the upcoming battle with Kaido, Leno ran to Sabodi Archipelago, just to play. For this showdown, regardless of the world government or marine, they have always remained silent, but it does not mean that they do not pay attention. The outcome of both sides indirectly affect the pattern of the world. Not to mention the world government, marine, and even New World have been quiet recently, and all kinds of battles have stopped. No one can care less. Really, we are here to relax, Sabodi Archipelago. What's interesting, you lead the way. Leno said seriously. Guillaume narrowed her eyes slightly, she couldn't believe it, she followed Leno the whole time, and she would not be able to figure out their real purpose. With a kick of Guillaume's long legs, the bubble car headed into the Sabodi Archipelago. Of course, Guillaume is so vigilant, and there is also the inspiration of the world government. The Hunter Guild is developing too fast. This will upset the balance of the world that the five elders, the marine, are trying to maintain. Boo boo boo. In the rear, the resident general who followed stealthily picked up the phone bug. This is the headquarters, I'm Admiral Sengoku, have you received the Hunter President Leno? Sengoku asked. Accepted, received, Sengoku said in a deep voice. Well, find out their purpose, and we can't let the Hunter Guild walk out of East Blue too quickly. After deliberation, the world government and marine hope to limit the Hunter Guild to East Blue. By the way, where is Guillaume? Let her answer the phone. B. What's wrong? Report Admiral, Guillaume Vice Admiral, is riding 3 rounds. What? Chapter 77 Flamingo, Golden Emperor, Momosagi's self-guided strategy. Sabodi Archipelago. Mangroves become forests. Bubbles float in the air one by one, and the scenery is peculiar. Crunch, crunch. Marine Vice Admiral, Momosagi Guillaume, passed by a quiet road on a bubble tricycle. Hey, I'm not dazzled, am I? A group of pirates, hiding behind the tree roots, looked at this scene, with a bunch of question marks and exclamation marks on their foreheads. The pirate boss rubbed his eyes vigorously, do not. He was right. The new commander of the Sabodi Archipelago, Marine Vice Admiral Guillaume, pedals 3 rounds. Why? Is he dreaming he heard that on the first day the woman came here? She used her beauty as a bait to catch a group of powerful characters. Absolutely, not to be underestimated, but, what is in front of you? No, it must be a dream. Snapped, suddenly, a bubble burst. The sound of the explosion startled a few flying birds, and the shocked pirates all fell backwards. The painful snort made them realize that it was not a dream. Vice Admiral pedaled 3 wheels, no problem. The beauty Vice Admiral pedaled 3 rounds, and there was no problem. There is a problem. There are still people sitting on the 3 wheels. What happened? Damn it, Leno, you enjoy it too much, don't you? Buggy rode a bubble bike and followed the tricycle with envy and jealousy on his face, and he really wanted to take a ride. It's just that when I think of those vicious marines. Buggy's brow was sweating. Forget it anyway. Buggy, they just passed by. Swipe swipe. In the shadowy place behind, one after another figure moved quickly. Found a pirate. Catch it directly. The pirates who were still in a daze were surrounded by a group of marine generals before they recovered. Bang bang bang. After a round of beatings, the generals beat the pirates ruthlessly. These guys. Did you eat dynamite today? One by one, so fierce? Have you heard? That beauty, Vice Admiral, is riding a tricycle, and the president of the Hunters Guild from East Blue is on board. What? Really? Oh, my friend, I saw it with my own eyes. Undoubtedly, such a big event quickly spread in Sabodi Archipelago, attracting the attention of all parties on the island. Because of the Sabodi Archipelago, it is the only way to go to the New World. Therefore, many pirates, people and bounty hunters gathered here. What's more, in illegal areas, buying and selling murlocs, humans, mermaids and other races is tacitly approved by everyone. It can be said, this island is rotten. Beneath the beauty lies the greatest evil. In the area numbered 7, there is an auction house hidden in the dark, but the rich and powerful come in and out. There are also occasional celestial dragons, because the goods auctioned here are not calligraphy and paintings, but slaves. From all over the world, the best quality slaves. The person who runs the auction house is sitting high in a dark box at this moment, holding a glass of red wine and looking down. He looked at a beautiful woman who was offered a high price by the person opposite, with a smile on his lips. She. Tezzolo, are you interested in her? If I had known earlier, I would have given it to you directly. Doflamingo's laughter, in the darkness, was somewhat cold. The man opposite him, facing the intermediary of the underground world, said flatly, I prefer to buy with money. Oh, Doflamingo said, you bastard, you snatched my golden fruit and became a golden man, and now you are talking nonsense in front of me? You are really brave, Gilder Tetsolo. Veins popped up on his forehead and he said, how should I deal with you? Forget it, we'll tie the knot and let Marine take advantage, Doflamingo, let's cooperate. Tezzolo leaned against the sofa, and the glass in his hand was slowly covered with a layer of gold, becoming a golden cup. Did you see it? This is the power of the golden fruit. Anything I touch will turn into gold. Doflamingo, do you know what that means, Bailey? Berries beyond count. Doflamingo stared at his golden cup, took a sip of red wine, and said, Shishishishi. How long can you last like this? If you remove the devil fruit's ability, it will immediately turn back into a normal cup, right? Tezzolo said. Don't forget, devil fruit, there is a higher level called awakening. As long as my golden fruit is awakened, it will have the power to permanently change the properties of matter. Do you still feel ordinary? Doflamingo laughed suddenly. Shishishishi, you bastard, you have learned a lot in Pangu City. Tezzolo heard. Pangu City. His face was gloomy, but he didn't get angry, and said coldly, if you don't want to, then forget it. He stood up and walked to the door. Wait, Doflamingo stopped him and said with a smile. When it comes to business, how can there be someone who flips the table at the very beginning? Tezzolo snorted coldly, although he didn't have a good impression of this underground world, the man called Joker. However, with his identity, he can do many things. Celestial dragons. Just as the two were about to start negotiations on the next cooperation, there was a knock on the outside door. Doflamingo told Tezzolo to wait. When he came outside, he saw Monet and said, what's the matter? Monet said in a low voice, I just got information that Leno, the head of the Hunters Guild, has landed on Saboti Archipelago, and the reason for his visit is unknown. Okay. Doflamingo was a little surprised. That guy, what are you doing in Saboti at this time? Where's Marine? What's going on? The resident commander, Guion Vice Admiral, is monitoring the entire process. Doflamingo laughed. Ha 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 ha, give Marine an embarrassment, they won't let it go. Monet held the document and said, also, the Murloc who joined the Beast's pirates is on the island. Oh, Doflamingo showed a smirk and said, that guy, seems to be called Jack, right? I heard that Kaido likes it very much. Well, Jack, the specific ability is unknown, he has a bad temper and is very reckless. Monet said. Doflamingo said. Now, there is a good show to watch, go find someone, tell Jack the news, he will make a move. Yes, young master. Monet leaves. Doflamingo turned and entered the house. What is the good news that makes you so proud? Tezzolo asked. Have you heard of Hunters Guild, the one in the newspaper? Tezzolo disdainfully said. A small East Blue organization still wants to challenge the New World Four Emperors. How arrogant. He is very aware of the strength of the Four Emperors, and he is not optimistic about the Hunters Guild. The two are not at the same level at all. The former big pirate, Gecko Moria, who was advertised as the Fifth Emperor, was also wiped out by the Kaido group. If you haven't been baptized by the blood and fire of the Grand Line, you are not considered strong at all. Doflamingo smiled and said, he beat Kuzan. Do you believe it? Tezzolo shook his head contemptuously. It's probably luck, I picked up a bargain. That's right, we still have to see it with our own eyes. Doflamingo was actually somewhat skeptical. East Blue, it's so evil. Are the weak always weak and the strong extremely strong? Tezzolo said, you want to make a move? Doflamingo said, there are people from the Beast's pirates on the island. I let them pass by, and it won't take long. Area 33 is the soap bubble park. Following Guion, he slowly passed by on the bubble tricycle, and a pair of curious and surprised eyes chased them. This is so weird. Buggy looked out of the corner of the eye and found that everyone was looking at them, inexplicably nervous. There are various entertainment facilities in front of you. If you want to play, you can have fun here. Guion parked the road. Looking from Leno, in the park, there are a series of projects such as Ferris wheel, bubble roller coaster, slide, acrobatics and so on. Oh, not bad. Leno smiled and said to Kuina. Let's go and play together. Those, can we play? Kuina was curious. She has never seen such a big playground since she was a child. What Ferris wheel and the like, not to mention, sure. Leno nodded and said, let's go, I'll take you to play. Hey, Buggy, do you want to go together? No, I won't go, I'll eat there, wait for you. Buggy shook his head. Just kidding, Guion just said that if she wants to follow Leno the whole time, she will definitely go in and be watched again. Buggy doesn't want to be watched by a group of people. He squeezed his chin. Be low-key, that's how Buggy survives. Okay then, you look at the car outside, the Saboti Archipelago is huge, we have to walk slowly. Leno said, looked at Guion, and said, well, Guion Vice Admiral, can you help me buy the ticket? Guion glared at him coldly. What's the matter with this guy? You are too thick-skinned, really use her as a servant? Damn it, how dare you call our goddess to buy a ticket? Why? He's still not a man. Ah, I can't help it anymore. I must kill him. How can such a lovely woman be allowed to buy a ticket? Guion Vice Admiral, draw your sword. Yes, cut him down and cut 8 pieces. No, 8 yuan is not enough. I want 100 yuan. The Marine general who was hiding in the crowd gritted his teeth, his resentment bursting out. I usually make offerings to her, and I wish I could use her as a goddess for chairs, but now I don't want to say that I have to spend money on him? This is, how heartbreaking, pain, it hurts so much. Leno was smiling. Goddess, so what? When it's time to play, don't you still have to play? What's more, I still deliver it to my door. Leno filtered out Guion's anger, as well as the murderous eyes behind him in the shadows. HMPH, this guy, there must be some kind of conspiracy. He did this in the hope that I would get angry and leave? Guion thought for a while. To be able to deceive Kuzan, it really is not an easy opponent. But, do you think this will jump my eyes? Do not make jokes. I'm Guion. No one knows men better than me. The more he doesn't want me to follow, the more problematic he is. Guion felt that he had grabbed Leno's tail. Guion laughed and said, no problem. A group of Marine generals looked at Guion to buy tickets. Click. Inside, broken. Following Leno, Kuina, and Guion, they walked into the amusement park, and the generals outside wanted to cry but had no tears. Why, Guion Vice Admiral, will you obey that guy? Why, Guion Vice Admiral, never smiled at me, let alone kicked me 3 wheels and bought tickets to the amusement park. What magic did he use? Hiss, could it be that that guy has demon fruit power, like controlling Kuzan Vice Admiral, controlled Guion Vice Admiral? No, it's not good. If this is the case, Guion Vice Admiral is in danger. Executed immediately. Guion Vice Admiral Rescue Operation. Hey, you two, stare at that red nose. Everyone else, all in disguise, enter the amusement park. Yes, in the amusement park, there are laughter and laughter everywhere. Leno and Kuina come to the Ferris wheel. He looked at the load, untied open black lens bracket long Q close black lens bracket, and handed it to Guion. Hey, Guion Vice Admiral, help me get the knife. Guion stretched out his hand subconsciously. Leno said, it's heavy. Guion's peachy eyes narrowed slightly. Are you underestimating me? Leno shrugged and put the knife in her hand. The cold hit, followed by a sense of heaviness, which made Guion almost unsteady. Good weight. It turned out that the weight on the card was the knife. What kind of knife is this? Guion is strange, and has never been seen in the list of big fast knives and fast knives. When she wanted to ask, Leno and Kuina had already boarded the Ferris wheel and raised it towards the sky. Cloud bubble car, roller coaster. Leno and Kuina were playing happily, as if they were going to play the entertainment again. Guion is like a little girl carrying a bag, watching the two laughing, with black lines all over her forehead. Could it be that they are really just here to play? No, if you want to play, East Blue has something similar, right? Sabaody, what attracts him? Outside the playground, Buggy sat in the restaurant and ordered a bunch of food. It's strange, when the captain and I came here, we didn't have these things. It seems that it has been more than 10 years? Buggy sighed in his heart. By the way, Rayleigh said that day, after he leaves, he will come to Sabaody Archipelago. Where is it? He and Shanks, have you met? Buggy pondered, looking at the map. No one knows the purpose of Leno coming to Sabaody, including Kuzan and the others. He only said that it was practice before the battle. Hey, you know what? Suddenly, there was discussion in the restaurant. What? Beauty Vice Admiral, Momosagi Guion and Hunter President Leno together. Huh? No way. Guion and Leno are dating. What? Guion and Leno are a couple? Buggy was stuffing food into his mouth. Hearing these words, he opened his mouth and sprayed rice directly. Dating? Couple? No way. Buggy was stunned, pinching his chin with his hand, thinking that the tit-for-tat confrontation between the two when they met was still unreasonable. Could it be that? Is it acting? Inside Buggy's head, the light bulb went on. Yes, they met before. Leno came to date Guion, before the big battle. Ah, understandable. Liao Wang's, ha ha ha, so it is such a dark secret, no wonder he refuses to tell anyone. Buggy looked proud. I finally caught Leno's handle, Buggy, are so bad. Hey, you guys, what are you talking about? At this time, Marine, who has been staring at Buggy, heard more and more outrageous comments. What? Guion is Leno's lover. Slander. Totally slanderous, unbearable, rushed in, yelling. Huh? Who are you? People who talk about it are not good stubble. In other words, the people on the Sabaody Archipelago are basically not good at it. In order to track Leno, Marine did not wear uniform, took off his clothes, without the deterrent of clothes, who was afraid of whom? When General Marine defeated those people, when he turned around, he suddenly found that Buggy was gone. Number 53 area, shipyard. What? The huge figure sitting on the wood suddenly widened his eyes, looking at the murloc in front of him. What you said is true. Well, Brother Jack, the Leno who challenged the governor, has come to Sabaody Archipelago. Jack stood up suddenly, and said coldly, East Blue? That kind of guy from a weak sea area is also worthy of challenging the governor? His body was tall and strong, and he was wearing a fur coat. At this time, he was floating slightly with the momentum. He is like an angry lion. I can kill him without the governor's help at all. However, Leno has Marine Vice Admiral by his side. Brother Jack, it's better to contact the governor first. HMPH, Vice Admiral. Get rid of it. Jack didn't care at all, and said, you contact the governor, I will kill Leno and that Marine Vice Admiral now. Flat-headed Brother Jack, that is a fierce man who still dares to charge in the face of the Marine fleet with Fujitora, Sengoku, and Crane. A Vice Admiral. What are you afraid of, Dry? Jack, who walked out of Area 53, was noticed by Marine who was staring at him, and quickly notified his colleagues. Huh? Jack, the newcomer from the Beast's Pirates? Hey, this is not good, notify Gion Vice Admiral immediately. If you let them encounter, the war may start in advance. Chapter 78 Defeat the drought with one punch and shock the Sabodi archipelago. In the amusement park, the Marine general who was lurking in the dark looked at Gion, who was acting as a bag-carrying girl, and felt as if his heart was being pierced. Pain. Bitter wine enters the throat and hurts the heart. That nasty guy, Leno, treated their goddess like this. Happily. Gion seemed more than happy. Hey, boo boo boo. The general took out the phone bug. Hello, I'm Kadakanpo Commodore. Your Excellency Commodore, we are the monitors of Area 53, in charge of monitoring the Beast's Pirates newcomer, Jack. Did he change anything? It's like this, Jack, who was originally quiet, started to move towards the island after talking to a Murloc. Currently moving direction, Area 33, we suspect that his target is Hunter President Leno. Keita Kongbo was taken aback. Well, what? Area 33, but the park area, has a lot of foreign tourists. He looked up at the crowd around him, and estimated that it would take about 20 minutes to come from Area 53. It was too late to evacuate. Kadakanbo said, you delay Jack, I will tell Gion Vice Admiral immediately. Yes. Keita Kongbo put down the phone bug and hurried to Gion to explain the situation. Jack? The newcomer with a bounty of 350 million Baileys? Gion frowned. Leno and Kuina, step out of the blister ball. It's exciting, the amusement park in Sabodi Archipelago is really interesting. Leno patted the water on his head. There was a rare smile on Kuina's face, it seems that she is very happy. Considering her age, she is still a child. Where are the kids who aren't interested in having fun? She focuses on practicing sword day by day, worrying for Leno. In practice, too tense nerves, too hard work, and too focused energy are not necessarily good things. One day the string will break. If the will is not strong enough, it will never be able to continue, and it will be completely destroyed. For example, Moria, the spirited challenge Kaido lost his heart with one blow, even the awakened conquerors completely left him. From a hot-blooded good young man to a fat man who lives at home. A typical passionate person who fell to the bottom and never got up again. So, Leno specially brought Kuina out to see more of the world, increase knowledge, and play more, so as to relax his body and mind. Not only Kuina, but him too. Recently, I have been exercising, becoming stronger, busy with the Hunter Guild, etc., and various affairs have filled my mind. Luwell's worry reminded him that in the face of Kaido's battle, strength and mentality are indispensable. He should try his best to relax, adjust his mentality, and face this battle in the best condition. 157 Leno and Gion said to play. I really didn't lie to her. Seeing Gion frowning, Leno asked with a smile, what's wrong? Gion hesitated a little and explained the situation directly. A newcomer from the Beast's Pirates happened to be on the island, and he came here after he heard you were coming. Oh, what's it called? Jack, one of the 3 disasters in the future, it's still a newcomer. Before Leno came, he told Kuzan about the current situation of Beast's Pirates. Occupy Wanokuni, headed by Governor Kaido. The 2 major cadres under his command, Jin, and Quinn. The commander of the main army called Barbarian. Well, yes, Kaido's future troops, what sextuplets, numberers, endowers, etc., have not yet appeared. In addition, Kuzan said that Kaido had 3 cadres before, and one of them died in the battle with Moria. In a fit of rage, Kaido killed all of Moria's crew. Come at me. Leno took open black lens bracket Dragon Sparrow close black lens bracket from Gion's hand, carried it on his shoulder, and said with a smile, I'll go meet him for a while. Leno looked at Keita Kongbo's phone bug, raised his hand to take it, and said to Gion, let your people tell me the location. After speaking, Leno grabbed Kuina, leapt into the air. Open black lens bracket royal wind close black lens bracket. Leno stepped on the wind, jumped tens of meters, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Damn, don't try to escape, I will never let you disappear from my sight. Gion gritted her teeth as she watched them run away, she would not make Kuzan's mistake. Let the person monitoring Jack report his location. She didn't finish her sentence. As soon as the footsteps are stepped on, they step up into the air. The long legs used, moonwalk, kicked the air, and chased after him. Keita Kongbo and his generals looked at each other in blank dismay. What are you doing in a daze? Hurry up, oh. Everyone wakes up like a dream. Knowing open black lens bracket moonwalk close black lens bracket, quickly stepped on open black lens bracket moonwalk close black lens bracket and followed. Marine 6 styles, because of its practicality, is still very popular among some generals, at least know 1 or 2 tricks. It is a physical technique that breaks the limits of the human body, and breaking the limits of the human body is just the beginning if you want to become a general of the headquarters. Those who can't, can only step on the bubble car. Mid-air. The wind surrounds Leno, pushing him forward, even with Kuina, still moving at high speed, just like flying. Even so, Kuina was not uncomfortable, and there was no wind on her face. She lowered her head curiously, and the ground passed by. Inside the colorful bubbles, there were rooms like matchboxes. On the other side of the phone bug, the sailor who watched Jack reported his location. High altitude brings excellent vision. Leno quickly locks on to the moving Jack. Suddenly, Leno took Kuina and fell down. Standing on a huge red tree branch, as far as the eye can see, a tall figure is slowly moving forward. There are no settlements nearby, so it is a good place to fight. Jack. Let's practice with you first. Leno handed Longqiu and Kunjung to Kuina, seeing her puzzled, said, I'll try. He moved his muscles and bones, and more than half a month passed, and about half of his Gluttony Demon King talent was fused. His increasingly powerful body made him feel bloodthirsty and manic. It was a hormone released from too much power. Many people, in this process, are gradually lost in power and become slaves driven by power. Fortunately, Leno's will is tenacious and fearless. Suddenly, Leno jumped up and landed in front of Jack in a daze. Jack stopped and looked at the man 20 meters away, and asked in a muffled voice, Who are you? I heard that you were looking for me, Leno said, looking at Jack. Jack, who is still young, has almost the same dressing style as 10 years later. He is tall and well built. The hair is blonde, tied with a ponytail and 2 braids. Metal jaws are worn on the mouth. There are 2 ivory-shaped decorations on the head and shoulders respectively. With spiked rivets. Wearing a fur coat. Uses 2 shuttle-like weapons. Wear a belt marked by Beast's pirates. You are the leader of the hunter, the guy who challenged the governor. What is his name? Leno. Jack's eyes were fixed on Leno. Challenge? Leno smiled and said, Is that what you guys said? It seems that Kaido himself wanted to call me? In fact, not only the Beast's pirates, but the whole sea, used the word challenge to describe this battle. Everyone felt that it was Leno who was challenging Kaido. He didn't regard this battle as a close duel. Not many people are optimistic about Leno. This is normal. After all, Kaido is one of the New World 4 emperors. He has experienced countless battles since the Rocks era. His strength is universally recognized as strong. The strongest creature in the world. It's not made up by someone, it's a stick, and it's knocked out every day. What about Leno? Since his debut, the most attention-grabbing battle was with Kuzan, and the other opponents were too weak to be worth commenting on. Furthermore, East Blue, the weakest of the 4 seas. Such a concept is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Many people subconsciously underestimate it. Jack's attitude was just one of many skeptics. Although he himself is also a rookie, he is not an ordinary rookie. He is a super rookie that Kaido is optimistic about. Jack clenched his fists. HMPH, you are such a small human being. I don't need a governor at all, I can beat you. He rushed forward suddenly, his huge body felt extremely oppressive, his muscles were tense, and his fists were wrapped in a frenzied wind. Strength has nothing to do with height. The wind blows the windbreaker, making hunting noises. Leno didn't dodge, shouted loudly, swung out his right fist, and raised it against Jack. Boom. The 2 fists hit each other, making a drum-beating sound. The aftermath made the air tremble, the earth trembled, and the trees shook. The mangrove tree roots under the 2 people's feet were broken inch by inch, rising with the momentum. None of them use Haki. With strength alone, it has caused terrible destructive power. Gion, who rushed over, saw this scene, his eyes slightly opened, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Not far away, Doflamingo, Tezzolo and others, the powerhouses entrenched in the Sabodi archipelago, came one after another and watched from the sidelines. This guy. Jack didn't expect that a human being who was much shorter than himself would dare to fight him, Kai, and it was still a pure strength confrontation. I'm a Murloc. The strength of ordinary Murlocs is 10 times that of humans, and my strength is 10,000 times that of ordinary Murlocs. So, my strength is 100,000 times stronger than yours. Jack roared, and his body exerted strength again. Stronger power gushed out from his body, trying to suppress Leno. However, Leno remained motionless. The tree roots in the ground under his feet have been shattered, and the wind is flowing under his feet, as if stepping on a mid-air minister. Lyde talked about his neck, excited. 100,000 times the power, is that all? The forward pressing of his right fist was not an instant burst of strength, it increased little by little, but it slowly pushed Jack back. What? Those who came to wait and see were all shocked. Jack's body is more than 8 meters high, and he is as strong as a hill. Anyone who looks at him will know that he has outstanding strength. Moreover, he is also a mutant Murloc. His strength is said to be comparable to that of the demon race. However, at this moment, he was suppressed by a human being, not relying on Haki, but pure power? In fact, Leno is not short. His body has been developing and growing. Although it is slow and inconspicuous, food provides nutrients. Especially the talent of Gluttony Demon King gradually merge. His height is moving towards 230 cm, and he will definitely grow in the future. Only, standing next to Jack, an 8-meter tall man, he looks short. Jack plowed the ground with his feet, pulling out 2 gradually deepening ravines. His eyes were full of shock. How could it be possible? Beasts pirates. In terms of pure power, he only serves Kaido. Apart from shock, it was anger, defeated by human strength? This disgrace cannot be tolerated. Roar. Jack's eyes were staring, his body swelled, his skin became red, his hair grew, and long fangs sprouted from the corners of his mouth. Instantly, he turned into a mammoth standing upright, his footsteps slammed on the ground, and the shock wave of the vibration shattered the roots of the nearby trees. Elephant fruit ancient species mammoth form. Mammoth is an ancient race known for its size and strength. Ah! Jack's elephant trunk flicked and let out a loud elephant cry. Boom! The combined power of Jack and the mammoth became more violent, and everything dried up and decayed wherever his footsteps stood. Jack stood firm again, with a huge body, trying to press forward. To turn the tide of battle. As expected of a rookie who can be valued by Kaido, with such a powerful power, even among the monsters in the New World, he still has a place. Tezzolo commented. Heh 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 heh. Doflamingo laughed. Tezzolo was still immature, didn't see the guy, didn't move at all. Crunch, crunch. Jack's eyes were wide open, his face was distorted, and even the metal jaw that covered his mouth was shattered in the calendar. His muscles are like tense springs, made a tooth-piercing tinny sound. Red-hot air came out of the face and body, as if mechanically overloaded. There is no doubt that Jack has used up all his strength. If Jack can lift a mountain, no one will believe it. Incredibly, under this kind of power, Leno is like the hardest and most tenacious rock, facing the storm of the sea and standing firm. Seeing that he could not win in terms of strength, Jack burst into anger, and suddenly raised his huge elephant trunk and dropped it. You're slacking off. Leno regrets that Jack did so, which is fatal. 2 men wrestling with all their might. There is one who suddenly plays tricks, distracts his strength and mind, and engages in a sneak attack. The outcome is instantly known. Leno ignored the trunk. His fist suddenly retreated an inch, the power hidden in his body exploded in an instant, and the fist rushed straight again. Boom. In just 1 inch, there was a deafening sound of a sonic boom, turbulent airflow, and even the shape of a sonic boom cloud. All of them were stung by this sound, so that their eardrums hurt, and they couldn't help but cover their ears. Boom. The fists collided again. This time, there is no suspense. Even though Jack had hardened his arms, he still snapped them off. The white bones of the forearm protruded from the elbow, which was terrifying. The huge body, like being hit by a high-speed train, flew backwards, and the mangroves collapsed along the way. Boom boom boom. Jack flew a full 200 meters, bumped into one of the extremely thick mangrove taproots, and was deeply embedded in it. Even though Jack was rough-skinned and thick-skinned, he was also dripping with blood at this time, his eyes turned white, and he passed out. Not. Is it over? Super Rookie Jack of the Beast's Pirates, defeated. What kind of powerful force is this? In the face of the transformed zone fruit ability user, can he still be able to fly with 1 punch? According to the data, isn't it said that he is a swordsman? Why does a swordsman have such a terrifying physique? The people watching around, looking at the mess all over the ground, and the Jack embedded in the red tree trunk, were shocked in their hearts. They thought that no matter what, it would be a close battle. Who knew it was just a simple punch? It's terrible. No wonder it can defeat Kuzan, such a strong body. Is it really human? Could it be that he is also demon fruit power? Or, are those races that have disappeared in history? Incredible. Terrible, humanoid tyrant. Undoubtedly, Leno's punch defeated many doubts and made people start to face up to his strength. Leno swung his fist, twisted his arms, and looked around. The people he saw shrank back subconsciously. Nobody wants to get punched. Leno looked at the man in the flamingo coat and the rose-red shirt. Doflamingo and Tezzolo froze, avoided their sight, and disappeared. The others followed suit. They are not Kaido, the reckless people looking for people to fight everywhere, and they have no hatred with Leno. Why bother asking for it? Watching the excitement and involving yourself in it, wouldn't you become the excitement? Leno shook his head, bored. Ding! You defeated the opponent. Scan to unendowed saddlestone Madara fish blood. $S level. Mammoth, 4th level. Samahata, $$ level. Fearless heart, S level. Armament Haki, level. Observation Haki, level A. Shorter knife, level A. Murloc karate, level B. A system prompt sounds. Leno glanced at Jack's talent. He has good blood, but unfortunately, it's tasteless. Devil fruit has limited development. Shark muscle. It seems that Murlocs have this talent, and their muscles are indeed perfect. Fearless heart. Well, it is very fearless. Please host choose a talent as soon as possible. Chapter 79 Bathing in Hot Springs with Kuina and Gion, perfect cooperation. Leno looked at Jack's talent, he considered it carefully. Choose, fearless. Ding, successfully copied TN, talent, fearless heart. Talent introduction. Fearless in heart, so fearless, your courage will make you no longer afraid. Open black lens bracket strength. S grade close black lens bracket of fearless will arises from his heart, giving his spirit, consciousness, a sense of invincibility. Leno opened his eyes, not against anyone, everyone here is rubbish. That's right. That's what it feels like. Fearless heart. Leno once got this talent from the Bandit King Sieg. Later, it merged with other talents into Gluttony King and disappeared. And Sieg's fearless heart is only B rank. Jack, on the other hand, is S rank and even more fearless. The difference is huge. Seeger's fearlessness is only the fearlessness of the ignorant. After seeing Shanks and their strength, he still chose to escape, not because he was not afraid of the strong. To put it bluntly, he was just a bully. What about Jack's fearlessness? Knowing the opponent, it is a strong lineup of Admiral Fujitora plus former Marine Marshal Sengoku plus Chief Staff Officer Suru Vice Admiral. He still resolutely launched a charge, fearless. Really fearless. Giving him the nickname Pirate Pingtu is definitely not too much. The spirit of contempt for all. When encountering a strong man, he has no fear and dares to swing a knife. Seriously implemented the word, fearless, fine. Leno's talent, he can control, otherwise, just this contempt for people's nostrils, it will draw a lot of hatred. Brother Jack. Jack's younger brothers ran out one after another and pulled Jack out of the tree trunk. Hurry to the hospital. Watching them go away, Leno said. Why, the pirates are right in front of us, Marine won't catch them? Humph. Guion, who came over, said lightly. What's the use of catching a Jack? It will only lead to a bigger war? Is that so, this is Marine's justice? Leno asked. Guion was poked at the heart, and said while grinding his teeth. You didn't kill him, you are still afraid of Kaido's post? Leno took the knife from Kuina and tied it to his waist. We hunters don't talk about justice, we talk about goals and dreams. Justice? It's too absolute. So, for the sake of goals and dreams, can justice be abandoned? Does it matter even if the means are unscrupulous? Guion retorted. Leno smiled, looked at Saboti Archipelago, and said, so, your justice is justice? If your justice is really justice, then the slave trade on the island is an illegal area. Leno paused, and said, under the shelter of justice, the greatest evil. Guion opened his mouth, speechless, because she herself knew that what Leno said was true. The Saboti Archipelago adjacent to naval headquarters is a gathering place for pirates, and the slave trade is legalized. Cat and mouse, live next door. How ironic. Leno looked up at the sky, stretched his waist vigorously, and said, ah, is there a hot spring on the island? Holding the map, Kuina said, yes, let's go to the hot springs. Leno glanced at Guion and said, Guion Vice Admiral, do you want to come? Guion snorted coldly, and said, I said, as long as you are in Saboti, I will keep an eye on you all the time, don't try to play tricks. Leno shrugged innocently and said, what tricks can I play? Kuina, accompanied by such a beautiful Marine Vice Admiral, doesn't she feel very safe? Yes, safe. Kuina thought for a while and nodded, is very safe. Did not meet a few pirates. She also wants to cut 2 pirates to practice swords. They were all scared away by Guion's marine coat. Leno looked around and said, well, by the way, is there someone missing? Kuina reminds. Buggy, Guion was surprised. Yes, there is another one with a red nose, which is not here. She quickly contacted the general of the amusement park. Huh? Missing? Guion was shocked. Yes, that guy, gone. The general on the opposite side looked ashamed. Guion was speechless. Let you keep an eye on someone, can't you keep an eye on it? Although he was furious, but the thing had already happened, it was useless to scold him anymore. Guion gritted his teeth and said, hurry up, find him. Yes. Hang up bug. Guion glared at Leno and asked, is this your conspiracy? What conspiracy? That guy, he got lost by himself. Leno smiled and said, let's go, soak in the hot spring. Leave Buggy alone. Kuina asked. Leno said, don't worry about him, don't worry, he is very lucky, not to mention, there is Marine to help find someone. Guion couldn't figure out what Leno was thinking, and suspected that there was some secret mission on Buggy. She had to follow Leno and Kuina by herself. Send your generals, because I am Basel. Boo boo boo. New world, open black lens bracket Jin close black lens bracket picked up the phone bug's microphone. What's the matter? Brother Jack, in Saboti Archipelago, was defeated by Leno. The voice of the phone bug was still in shock. Huh? Leno? Who is it? There was a burst of exclamation on the other side. Jin finally came to his senses, and said, is the leader of the hunter? He landed on the Saboti Archipelago? Yes. The flames on Jin's body burned even more intensely, and he said, that kid Jack, has he been defeated? Yes, it is, not dead, still alive. That's all right. Jin's tone was calm, not surprised. The guy who can defeat Kuzan is certainly not the little rookie Jack, who can deal with it. Who gave him the courage to be arrogant? Okay. In the eyes of Jin, Jack, one of the 3 disasters in the future, is really a newcomer. Even after 10 years, Jin and Quinn didn't think highly of Jack, they treated him like a child and reprimanded him frequently. Let alone now, Jin doesn't think it's normal for Jack to be Kuzan and lose to Leno? No. Big Brother Jack and Leno punched each other, and Big Brother Jack was defeated in terms of strength. Okay. In Jin's eyes, surprise appeared. Just a punch? Yes, but, Brother Jack, he didn't use Haki, he used fruit power, and he still lost. Jin shook his head, and said, it's only been a month since he got that fruit, and if he can defeat it with one move, I can do it too. That guy still needs to grow up. Kaido is going to hit Jack. It's not a stick, it's nothing to be shocked. Jin has full confidence in Kaido. Bubble Hot Spring Hotel. VIP Suite. A detached yard with a large bathtub. The steaming feeling is very comfortable. Hey, Guion Vice Admiral, I need to change clothes, do you want to watch too? Leno glanced at Guion, who never left, and pointed to the changing room. Guion glanced at the changing room. There are no other exits. She chose to stay outside. Leno quickly changed his hot spring clothes, went outside, saw her crossed her arms, and smiled. Do you want to go together? Guion squinted at him. It's fine if you don't come, just watch slowly. Leno whistled. He came to the hot spring bath. Kuina was already soaking in it, steaming, her cheeks were slightly red. This is a shared bath. However, Leno and Kuina have nothing to shy away from, their friendship is pure. Only people with dirty minds can dream about things. The hot water of the hot spring has covered the body, as if every cell is happily absorbing the heat of the emperor. Then, drive away the fatigue. Not only the body, but also the fatigue of the mind. What? Leno sighed. It's comfortable. He exhaled slowly, submerged in the water, and closed his eyes slightly. This feeling is really quite refreshing. Enjoyed it so much. After a while, the surface of the water rippled slightly. Leno opened his eyes. A pair of long legs stepped in. Guion squeezed the bathrobe that only covered her thighs, and sat diagonally opposite. The boiling hot water just soaked her chest. The surface of the water is undulating and slightly rippling. Facing Leno and Kuina's surprised eyes, Guion looked as usual, and asked, what could it be that Marine Vice Admiral can't take a hot spring? She raised her hands and untied her coiled hair. Her demeanor exuded a charming charm and charm. She is in excellent shape. Admiral-level height makes her look extraordinarily tall. Amazingly long legs. In the gentle appearance, there is another kind of enchanting, breathtaking. Especially on her thighs and back, each has a tattoo of an octopus spider, revealing a dark wildness. Tattoo? It seems that people who are from gangsters will tattoo themselves. Leno thought to himself. He vaguely remembered that Guion used to be a geisha, and after meeting Suru Vice Admiral, he joined Marine. Catching pirates is different, going in and out of Gulan places, entertaining guests with beauty, and attracting all pirates. This is somewhat similar to her spider tattoo, both of which are waiting for a rabbit to hunt. I don't know who has the better hunting skills between Luel and her. Leno smiled. He withdrew his gaze and said indifferently, no, you can do whatever you want. Kuina, do you want some fruit? Okay. Leno put the fruit plate on the surface of the water, pushed it lightly, and brought it to Kuina. Then, the group eyes rested. Guion's beauty trap is useless to him. It's not that he doesn't like beauties, rather, it is not necessary. From the corner of Guion, he caught a glimpse of Leno, who was actually soaking in the hot spring and fell asleep, and a look of astonishment flashed across his pretty face. Isn't this guy interested in women? Or pretend? Guion is annoyed. She wanted to seduce Leno, arrange some wine, and set Leno's purpose of coming to Sabodi Archipelago. He actually fell asleep. Click, there was a crisp chewing sound. Guion looked at Kuina. Holding a piece of apple, Kuina caught her gaze, was stunned for a moment, and subconsciously asked, do you want to eat? Guion's eyes turned. She seemed to be a very important person to Leno. According to the information, Leno often took her by his side. Perhaps it is a breakthrough. Can't handle Leno, she can't handle Kuina? Guion smiled and leaned towards Kuina, sitting next to her. He took a slice of orange, put it in his mouth, and asked casually, aren't you worried about his duel with Kaido? 0 for flowers. Kuina ate the apple and asked, Kaido, is it strong? Of course strong. World the strongest creature in the entire world, in terms of heads up, maybe only a few people, such as Sengoku Admiral, Vice Admiral Garp, Whitebeard Edward Newgate, etc., can compete with him, right? Kuina asked. Compared to Kuzan? Kuzan? Guion thought for a while and said, Kaido is stronger, but Kuzan won't lose either. Why? Kuina wondered. Guion raised hot water and poured it on her fragrant shoulders that were exposed above the water. She also relaxed a lot under the steaming heat. Because, the battle between the top powerhouses is not absolute, and there are too many factors that can affect it. Kaido is really strong in one-on-one, but why should we fight him one-on-one? Our Marine is not an individual, but a group. Just hold him down and drag him down, and he will be exhausted. We have caught him more than 30 times. Isn't this a victory? Stronger than Roger the Pirate King. He was captured soon after losing his crew. Bullet, Lonely Red, Golden Lion. Which one of these people is not strong? Aren't they also put in a big prison? If you only hold the idea of fighting alone, you will never be able to gain a foothold in the sea and dominate. Kaido seems to have realized it, and began to look for his own helper. The barbarian he once relied on has decayed. He went around looking for people to fight, just to promote his own force and deter those ambitious people. And Charlotte, Linlin, and Edward don't need them, they have enough helpers around them. If Kuzan is in Marine, against Kaido, there is no need to fight to the death, because we still have Sengoku, Garp, Zephyr, Crane, Sakazuki, Paluzolino, etc., countless Kaido. Army Elite, *****. We are a collective, individual power is limited, collective power is unlimited, so Kuzan will not lose. I think this is why Kaido is eyeing you, he hopes to subdue you. Gion gave Kuina an analysis. Huh? Really? Kuina tilted her head and said. But, Leno defeated Kuzan, he lost. Kuzan lost. Those 4 words stabbed Gion's sword hard. Her heart was bleeding. Gion said indignantly. That's because Kuzan is singled out, if we were here, he wouldn't lose. Kuina said. But, Leno has us too, okay. Seems to make sense. However, Gion held his forehead with his hand. She wanted to say, what are you guys? Compared with the huge marine, you are really too weak. Honestly, in Gion's eyes, the entire Hunters Guild, excluding Leno and Kuzan, came to the Paradise section, and it is estimated that they will not survive for 3 days. Not to mention New World. Leno brought the Hunters Guild to a level it didn't belong to. However, facing Kuina's serious eyes, Gion couldn't bear to hurt her. She still likes to support the younger generation. How about we compare swordsmanship? Ji Yuan suggested. It is good. Kuina's eyes lit up. When she came to the island and saw Gion, she wanted to fight against him, and now Gion mentioned it, which was exactly what she wanted. The two got up, went to the open space outside the hot spring, and asked the maid arranged by the hotel to fetch 2 bamboo swords. Because it was just a competition of swordsmanship, naturally they didn't change their clothes. The two were barefoot and wrapped in bathrobes, standing opposite each other. Gion waved his bamboo sword and said, "You attack." Kuina is not polite. Holding the bamboo sword with both hands, she attacked Gion. The 2 people crossed each other in an instant, the bamboo swords came and went, and afterimages intertwined, and they swung more than a dozen swords rapidly. Gion narrowed his eyes slightly, but he didn't find a flaw, and praised. "Oh, not bad, your foundation is very good." Kuina didn't say a word. Her one-heart sword talent allowed her to focus extraordinarily on the way of swordsmanship. This kind of focus can often get twice the result with half the effort. Seeing Kuina's seriousness, Ziyuan said, "If I don't show some skills, I really can't deal with you." She also got serious. The bamboo sword moves suddenly change. The body is driven by the bamboo sword, and the body is combined with the bamboo sword. It seems to be dancing, elegant and beautiful. There was a fierce murderous intent. Gion's kendo comes from her experience as a geisha. Covered with beauty, magnificence, and dazzling, like lion majesty, killing people invisible is the sword of assassination. What about Kuina? Orthodox Yishiyu, unpretentious. After observation and fine-tuning by Leno's Jien Shin, her swordsmanship is in a class of its own. It is not eye-catching, nor does it show off skills, but it is very smooth and the strength and speed of each move are just right. This gave Gion a headache. She was restrained like an assassin meeting a warrior. If Haki and Taiju were used, Kuina is no match for Gion. But in terms of swordsmanship, Kuina is very strong. Leno was awakened by the sound of bamboo swords clashing, opened his eyes, and turned to look at them. At this time, Gion was treating him well, up from his point of view. Oh, not bad. Hearing the sound, Gion stretched his legs together, but his movements showed flaws. Opportunity. The Kuina bamboo sword stabbed out, passed through the block, hit Gion's abdomen, raised it upwards, and tore apart the bathrobe together. Chapter 80 Give Kuina a physiology lesson. Pluton really helps. The steaming hot spring pool is filled with white mist. Trained by Leno, Kuina's sword is getting better day by day, and it belongs to the steady and steady type. However, it is not without killing moves. If you don't move, you're done, and if you move every day, you will kill. Once the opportunity is caught, it is quite fast. The moment Gion subconsciously pulled his legs together, Kuina's bamboo sword pierced out. Not good. Gion was surprised and quickly parried. However, after the movements are deformed, flaws will naturally appear. Kuina's bamboo sword sliced across her defenses, then one stab, another pick. In fact, the purpose of this sword is to stab the throat, and the purpose of stabbing upwards is to enlarge the wound and increase the damage. But Gion is too high. The bamboo sword that should have pierced the neck only pierced Gion's head. And with this challenge, crash, because of a fierce fight. And the bathrobe, which became loose, was torn apart and slipped backwards. Okay. Kuina froze. Gion was stunned. Leno was stunned. The hot springs are quiet. Kuina took back the bamboo sword with some embarrassment. Holding the bamboo sword, Guillaume was extremely embarrassed, not knowing what to do. His face became redder than an apple. Leno stared at the picture in front of him. Okay, happiness came too suddenly. He gave Kuina the thumbs up. Voila, this is cooperation. Quite perfect. Kuina thought about it. Indeed, in Guillaume's words, isn't she just on orders now? She and Leno are two people. Guillaume, alone? She and Leno are collective. Guillaume alone? No wonder you don't lose. Using Guillaume's theory to defeat her is completely fine. Kuina also gave Leno a thumbs up. Well done. Seeing the interaction between Leno and Kuina, Guillaume was speechless. These two guys are really shameless. Guillaume glared at Kuina unhappily, but the ancient 790, Ina didn't look embarrassed at all. She found out. Kuina seems to have no concept of male-female defense yet. Therefore, there is no reaction to Guillaume's exposure to Leno. Kuina was embarrassed, instead of picking up Guillaume's bathrobe, but took the opportunity to thrust out the sword. She felt that it was a bit invincible. Kuina asked, "Do you want to continue?" Continue? Guillaume gave her a blank look. She guessed right. Kuina, who is only 12 years old, has a concept of men and women as being strong and weak. She is immersed in kendo every day. Don't care about the difference between men and women at all. Pure tomboy thinking. Furthermore, at her age, she has just developed and is still in the ignorant stage. Where's the time to care about those? Wait, what about Leno? He is not interested in himself, so he doesn't have that concept, does he? The breeze blows gently. No bathrobe to cover up. The skin is slightly cool. Try. Guillaume hesitated for a moment, took a breath, turned around naturally and generously, and picked up the bathrobe on the ground. After she lowered her head, her eyes met Leno's eyes. Clear and wise. From the inside, you can just see her beautiful figure reflected in it. Guillaume stared and gritted his teeth. This guy, he is different from Kuina. Snapped. The bamboo sword in Guillaume's hand knocked on Leno's head, quickly grabbed the bathrobe, wrapped it around his body, and walked out. Leno rubbed his head and watched her disappear into the corridor, sighing regretfully. What happened to her? Kuina wondered. Leno soaked back in the hot spring and said, "It's okay, women, there will always be a day or two when your temper will be quite irritable." Is that so? Kuina put down the bamboo sword and came back, curiously asking, "Will I do it too?" Probably, yes, this is a problem caused by human growth and development, and it is not under the control of individuals. Leno searches for words and teaches Kuina a physiology lesson. He scratched his head. However, will the women in the pirate world encounter physical problems like they did in my previous world? If you don't understand, just ask. Seeing Guillaume, who had changed back to his general uniform, Leno asked. Guillaume looked at the two pairs of curious eyes. She was holding her breath. In the end, he didn't draw the knife. Depending on the individual's body and race, some will not. That's it. Leno had a mean mouth and asked casually, "Would you know it?" Die. Guillaume completely breached the defense, raised his hand and slashed out, splitting the hot spring and the wall of the hotel in half. Leno dodged the knife, although he really wanted to ask more in-depth questions, so that he could teach Kuina in the future. But looking at Guillaume's menace, it looked like he would slap him if he dared to say another word. Never mind. In One Piece world, there are other women. There is no need to catch a bully. How to say, Guillaume is also Kuzan's former colleague, give him face. Leno and Kuina went to the changing room to shower and returned to the residence. Guillaume had to deal with the hotel owner to negotiate compensation. Although she is the naval headquarters vice admiral, she can't damage things without compensation and damage Marine's face. Guillaume is not in the mood to argue with the boss. She was worried that Leno and Kuina would take the opportunity to leave. Hand over this matter to the general who is ambushing outside. He hurried to the house by himself. Pull open the door. Guillaume only saw Kuina, sitting on the floor, doing meditation training, and his heart skipped a beat. Take precautions, or lost. Where's Leno? Guillaume asked. She ran to the bathroom door, opened it, the closet door, opened it. Nothing. Kuina opened her eyes, very puzzled by Guillaume's actions. This woman cares about Leno too much, doesn't she? Leno is out looking for Buggy, Kuina reminded. HMPH, tell me, what conspiracy are you guys planning to come to Saboti? Guillaume glared at Kuina. No, Kuina said seriously. We're just here to play and gain knowledge, really, don't you believe it? Guillaume and Kuina look at each other. Simple, no flaws. Guillaume admitted that she lost. Kuina was clearly unaware. Guillaume scratched his head in annoyance. If it wasn't for the knife, he wouldn't have been entangled by the boss and let Leno slip away. Kuina said. Leno said, he will be back soon, don't worry, you can wait for him here. How cunning, he will come back. He must have lied to you, Guillaume snorted coldly. I believe in him. Kuina closed her eyes and continued to practice. Guillaume breathed a sigh of relief, picked up the phone bug, and planned to contact his subordinates, but he could think of Leno's strength displayed during the day. She put it down. Let those generals go, just to die. If Leno really wants to do something, there will be some movement soon, there is no need to spread his strength, just wait. Gion sat on the floor, looked at Kuina, resting his chin on his hands. After a while, Gion suddenly said, Kuina, are you interested in joining Marine? Kuina doesn't speak. Gion said, you actually need more battles with your peers to hone yourself. Following Leno all the time, it is true that you can increase your knowledge, but the opponents he meets are too strong for you. Naval headquarters, there are many outstanding young people like you. Kuina was unimpressed. Gion approached Kuina and said, you will never be able to help Leno like this. Kuina opened her eyes. She looked at Gion, who was close at hand and almost stuck in front of her, and asked, then what should I do? Oh, Gion smiled and said, your hunter guild, don't you want to have a goal? What is your goal? The world's greatest swordsman, Kuina said, what an amazing goal. However, under the protection of Leno, you will only get further and further away from this goal. You need to grow yourself. Gion hit the nail on the head and said, Kuina, he dotes on you too much, come with me, I will teach you to grow up. If you don't want to go to the headquarters, I will work in Sabaody for 4 years. Every moment here, there are new pirates coming. I will arrange a battle for you every day, let you take over. 4 years later, do you want to stay or leave? It's up to you, how about it? Kuina was silent. In fact, she herself also has feelings. Her kendo fell into a bottleneck. Leno must have noticed when he brought her out. She needs to fight, however, the opponents Leno met were either too weak or too strong, which was not suitable for her to hone herself. Why? You want to help me? Kuina asked. Why? Gion gritted his teeth and said, Leno took Kuzan away, and I will take you away from him too. Kuina. Leno's consent is required. Can't you make up your own mind? Gion was dissatisfied. Kuina. I'm 12 years old, that's really young. Apart from Gion's own reasons, she actually values Kuina's talent more. Perhaps, Kuina can outdo herself, Gion thought to himself. Number 11, the Rip-Off Bar. Shaki stood behind the bar, smoking a cigarette, and handed 2 glasses of wine to Rayleigh and Buggy across the way. In the afternoon, Buggy came to the bar. Back then, the Roger pirates were repaired in Sabaody Archipelago. Shaki met Shanks and Buggy. Buggy's red nose is impressive. Rayleigh came here after receiving a call from Shaki, and said with a smile, Buggy, I didn't expect you to come to Sabaody too. What? Shanks can come. Can't I come? Buggy was dissatisfied with the protest, and said, HMPH, next time we meet, I must beat Shanks hard. Haha, you're still obsessed with that incident. Rayleigh took a sip of his wine and was in a good mood. It's great to meet old friends again, of course, if it wasn't for Shanks, how could I eat that fruit and never go to sea again? When Buggy thought about it, he couldn't help but get angry. His dream is to find all the treasures in the world, and many treasures are hidden deep in the sea. Who knew that the person who most wanted to go to the sea would never be able to go to the sea again because of devil fruit? Buggy heart, broken. However, Shanks is now launching an impact towards the position of 4 emperors, you may not be able to beat it. Shaki reminded with a smile, huh? 4 emperors? Buggy proudly. Didn't you see the clothes I'm wearing? Shaki, Rayleigh, naturally noticed. Rayleigh asked curiously, have you joined Hunter's Guild? Buggy pretended to be profound, and nodded. My uncle, but the veteran of the Hunter Guild, a senior cadre. Oh, is it that powerful? Shaki asked. Huh? Don't you know? When Kuzan joins the Hunter's Guild, he has to call me senior. Buggy held his head high and said, Leno always takes me with him every time he travels, which shows how important I am. That guy, even Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, the strongest creature in the world, came to make an appointment to fight, he's quite powerful. Shanks is nothing in front of him. Rayleigh laughed, Buggy's bragging personality hasn't changed at all. But, he didn't even break it. When Roger was on the boat, he and Shanks were the pistachios of everyone's summer happiness. Hearing Buggy brag again, really, recalling the past is refreshing. Shaki was also laughing, and said, is that Leno really that strong? Why'd I hear people say that Kuzan deliberately lost because he wanted to leave Marine, and Leno is just taking advantage? Buggy slapped the table, and said in a low voice, who said that? Buggy is not happy anymore. Discredit Leno, isn't it just to discredit Hunter Guild? It is equivalent to discrediting him, Buggy. Leno can bear it. Buggy can't stand it. Rayleigh laughed, comforted Buggy, and said, Buggy, I heard that your president is here too. When Buggy heard this, his face suddenly became weird and mysterious, and he said quietly, I'll tell you a secret. Okay. You must not tell the outside world. Leno and Momosagi Vice Admiral, the resident commander of Sabaody, are lovers. Buggy said seriously. What? Rayleigh and Shaki looked at each other. No way. How is this possible? Buggy crossed his arms and said, surprised. Incredible. This is Buggy's exclusive news. Jingle. The bar doorbell rang. Hey, Buggy, what are you talking about me again? Come in with the sound. Buggy, who was proud of himself, was taken aback. Turned. Huh? Leno, why are you here? Of course I came to look for you. I suddenly slipped away from under Marine's nose. I thought you were kidnapped. There were no other customers in the bar. Leno and Rayleigh, Shaki, looked at each other. He calmly walked to the bar and sat down, said, "Don't listen to Buggy's nonsense, rumors, they're all rumors." No, you're not dating the Marine Vice Admiral? Buggy was shocked. Buggy is angry. Damn it, the handle I finally caught is actually a fake? What's the date? Dating Guion, that woman, that's great. Leno shook his head and said, why don't you introduce your two acquaintances to me? Buggy was not very interested, and casually pointed, Rayleigh, Shaki. Leno. After Leno introduced himself, he looked at Rayleigh and said, You are Roger's right hand, open black lens bracket Pluton Rayleigh? The Rayleigh in front of me is almost the same as the image 10 years later. He has long curly hair, a beard on his chin, and white beard and hair. Wears glasses and has a straight scar over his right eye. Rayleigh's temperament is exceptionally good, with a faint smile 2.0 on his face, and a bookish look between his eyebrows and eyes. He didn't look vicious at all, he didn't look like a pirate at all, but a wise man next door. He said slowly, Roger, that was in the past, now, I am just a shipwright and a coding worker, why? Leno said, that's such a pity, I also want to ask you to join our Hunters Guild. No, I'm an old bone, but I can't stand it. Rayleigh declined with a laugh. He has been with Roger, has seen too many storms, seen the peak, how can he commit himself to others? If he wants. 4 Emperors group, just pick. The chances of asking Rayleigh out of the mountain are 0, and Inuo is not here for it. He didn't intend to keep it a secret, straight to the point. Mr. Rayleigh, do you know that I have an appointment with Kaido? Okay. Before the battle with Kaido, I want to find a partner with rich combat experience. Rayleigh, as the best newcomer mentor in One Piece world, is the most suitable opponent for Leno. Rayleigh smiled. When Leno came in, he knew that Leno was after him and Buggy was just a cover. Hearing his purpose, Rayleigh's heart moved slightly. Do you have the confidence to defeat Kaido? Leno said. Yes. Why? Leno stretched out his hand with a smile and said, based on this. Rayleigh froze for a moment. He reached out his hand too, and Leno took it. The faces of the two faced each other with smiles. The invisible Haki confronts. Lighting dims. Click. The bar is cracked. Hey, you two, don't fight here. Shaki was dissatisfied. Rayleigh and Leno let go at the same time. How? Leno asked. Rayleigh was slightly surprised, and said, Haki on you reminds me of Garp, you are much younger than him. Fight against Kaido, I'll help you, you are responsible for the drink money, and help me pay off my gambling debt. Make a deal. Chapter 81 Go Grow Up, Kuina, dig deep with Momosagi. Spa Hotel. The lights are on, suddenly there was a breeze. Guion, Kuina, opened their eyes together, windowsill. Leno stepped in, saw the two of them, raised his eyebrows lightly, and said, haven't you slept yet? Guion stood in front of Leno, stared at him, looked him up and down, squinted and asked, where have you been? This? How does it feel, as if the wife is scolding the late husband? Leno said unhappily, Guion Vice Admiral, are you taking too much control? I'm the Marine Commander stationed in Sabaody. Naturally, I have to keep a close eye on a dangerous person like you. Guion snorted coldly. Oh, Leno looked at her chest, playing with taste, then I sleep, do you want to follow? Guion choked. Thinking of the side of the hot spring, he looked at him with a bad look. She thought again of her conversation with Kuina, she laughed and said, Kuina has something to tell you. Guion was proud, as if he had won a battle, walked out with long legs, leaving room for the two of them. Talk. Leno sat down. Passed the marshmallows bought on the way to Kuina, and said, tell me, what did the woman tell you? Kuina took the marshmallow, took 2 bites, and muttered. Leno, I want to stay in Sabaody. Really? Leno looked at her and said, is this your own idea? Okay. Kuina nodded earnestly. I'm in East Blue. It seems that I can't help much. Chloe and Luwell have their own things to do. Uta can sing. I'm not good at anything other than swordsmanship, but the enemy you encountered was the next day. So, I think it's more appropriate to stay in Sabaody and sharpen myself than to be taken care of by you all the time. Of course, if you don't agree, I won't stay either. Kuina looked at Leno warily. That's it. Leno reached out, touched her head, and said with a smile. It seems that I have ignored your feelings. No, I didn't mean that. I know you care about me most, maybe more than my father. Kuina summoned up her courage and said, but, I hope that one day in the future, I can help you. When you encounter difficulties, behind you, there is me, and us. I think some of the words of Guion Vice Admiral are 20 reasonable. Father once told us that a finger is easy to break, and only when it is clenched into a fist can we have strength. You're not alone, Leno. You have us, we are a collective. After saying this, Kuina was a little at a loss. She didn't know if what she said was right, but it was from her heart. Leno stared at Kuina. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, he raised his hands and applauded, laughed loudly, and said with relief. That's great, Kuina. Kuina was dumbfounded. That's the way it is. Leno applauded her and said, You are right, remember, you have to be brave enough to speak your mind. Formerly Kuina. Because she is too strong, so that she has a withdrawn personality and does not fit in with others. In the dojo, people are in awe of her more than they like her. She keeps practicing swords, and she just wants to prove to Koshiro that girls are absolutely no worse than boys. She is not practicing swords for herself. In her character, the self part is missing. Now, you dare to say what you want, this is growth, Kuina, you have grown up. Really? Kuina, who was anxious, became happy when she heard Leno's encouragement. Aren't you angry? Why should I be angry? Leno smiled and said, everyone cannot grow without the help of family, friends, and even enemies. However, self-growth is more important than these. Only when you realize that I want, not others want me, do you really grow up. Of course, being needed is just as important. You are right, I am not alone, I have you, we are a group, so, I need you. Go grow, Kuina, chase your goals and dreams, you are now a qualified hunter. Leno's encouragement gave Kuina great courage and confidence, she nodded happily, full of hope. Then, I formally appoint you as one of the 13 members of the Hunters Guild, in charge of the Sabodi Archipelago. Leno is solemn. Although the organizational structure of the Hunters Guild has been released, Leno has never announced the list of the 13 seats. Not only the 13 seats, but also the 5 major departments are all vacant, waiting to be filled. However, the 13 seats of the Senate can be directly appointed by Leno, which is one of the rights of the president. Kuina was pleasantly surprised and said, leave it to me? Okay. Leno nodded. Of course, you are our outpost, but your main task is self-cultivation. In the future, you are our great swordsman, Kuina nodded solemnly. Leno smiled and said, okay, you go to bed early, I'll go to Gion Vice Admiral and have a good chat. Okay. Kuina felt relieved, and said, Gion Vice Admiral still wants me to enter naval headquarters, but I refuse. Oh, Leno got up and said, then I must be good and talk to her about her staying here. Leno walked outside, gritted his teeth, what a Gion, you accidentally let you poach a corner. Why don't you have a good chat, really think that you have a good temper and are vegetarians? Leno came to the door. Gion smiled beautifully, folded his arms across his chest, and said proudly, I thought you would refuse. Let you dig Kuzan. Who wouldn't dig a corner? Leno said, it is beneficial to her growth, of course I will not refuse, but I think we should talk. What are you talking about? Gion was wary. Leno looked up to the sky. There is no moon tonight, darkness covers the earth, and there is silence on all sides, it is really a dark and windy night. He smiled at Gion and said, is there a place where no one bothers you? Can we discuss it in depth? Gion's peach blossom eyes narrowed, flashing a dangerous light, he clenched the knife in his hand, and looked at Leno. Exactly. Gion licked his lips lightly, and said, I also want to know about President Rang Nuo's true abilities. Leno really beat Kuzan? Gion still had doubts in his heart. During the day Leno beat Jack with strength, nothing. Strength is only one of the criteria to measure the strong, not the only two. What Shaki said was Kuzan's intentional defeat, which is relatively popular at present. Probably, since Kaido's meeting with Leno, there has been a trend of Black Leno spreading in the world. This year, Leno has really shined. Watching him and the news about him in the newspapers every day, it is inevitable that some people will be bored, or jealous and hate. And some people hope to belittle others to elevate themselves and gain attention. Therefore, there are some big-mouthed celebrities who like to publish random comments in newspapers to gain attention. As Leno is so hot now, it naturally attracts many comments, some tout him, some to belittle and smear him. There are many people who are popular. If Leno loses to Kaido, those little black guys, it will definitely be a carnival. In Marine, there is no shortage of such people. Gion did not participate, but he was inevitably affected by these remarks, which created a doubt. Okay. Get to know each other, Leno said, follow me. She stepped on her long legs, and, moonwalked, stepped into the air. Leno didn't have royal wind this time. Marine 6 styles, talented, shimmering. Leno stepped on open black lens bracket moonwalk close black lens bracket and chased Gion closely. In front of Gion, Leno caught a glimpse from the corner of his eye, and quickly chased after him, frowning. Moonwalk. Did Kuzan teach him the 6 styles? Probably not. Then, did he learn it by himself? Is he being provocative? Gion turned around and kicked. 6 styles tempest kick. Laugh, in the dark night, the sound of piercing the sky. Leno kicks back, with tempest kick, to tempest kick. Puff. Kick volley to bomb. Because it is in the dark, observation Haki also becomes extremely important. Next, fly. Finger pistol, shave, paper arts, even, iron body. Gion and Leno, while galloping Luffy in midair, launched a Marine 6 styles duel. Gion was surprised that Leno's Marine 6 styles was not inferior to her at all, reaching the limit. The positioning of open black lens bracket Marine 6 styles close black lens bracket is a physical technique that goes beyond the limits of the human body. It means that being able to develop human body strength to a superhuman state is tantamount to laying the foundation for Haki. Learn open black lens bracket marine 6 styles close black lens bracket, and then practice Haki, it will be a matter of course. So, when armament Haki came out, Iron Body seemed to be a joke. In other words, S rank is the ceiling of marine 6 styles. After that, no matter how much you practice, you can't get rid of its own limitations. In other words, some talents have a limit. Gion was shocked by Leno's talent. He not only learned the 6 forms, but also mastered the esoteric skills. Could it be that he was once a marine? It's hard for Gion to understand, because she didn't practice the 6 forms too deliberately, so the esoteric skills are not as good as Leno. However, the 6 forms alone cannot defeat Gion. The two, one in front of the other, approached the huge Alchemon mangrove tree with a thick trunk whose diameter is unknown. Gion got in through a hole, Leno followed closely, and there was a faint light flickering inside. This is a tree hole propped up by huge bubbles, and the space is quite huge, about 4 or 5 football fields. Leno just stood still. Gion's long legs had already kicked towards him, and after her armor hardened, her kicks were quite sharp. Leno's body was wrapped in armor, and before Gion kicked him, he was blocked by Haki, who was like an armor. What? Such a powerful armed color? Gion's eyes widened in disbelief. In her impression, only Vice Admiral Garp refined the armed color to ultimate to form an invisible armor. Of course, Marshal Sora, Sengoku, and Zephyr all have similar Haki, but Garp's is different. That kind of thickness and strength makes One Piece Roger very excited. When she was startled, Leno grabbed her ankle, swung Gion like a sledgehammer, and threw Gion to the ground. Although she is a woman, when fighting, she is the enemy, and there is no such thing as showing no mercy. Choke. The snow-white knife light slashed across, and the sharp edge cut the space. The knife on Gion's waist came out of its sheath and slashed towards Leno's hand. Famous sword, Golden Pyro. This still needs to be respected. The sword hero's lethality is extremely strong, even if he has a top-level armed color, he should still dodge, don't. Learn open black lens bracket iron body close black lens bracket. Isn't the mighty Kaido being stabbed in the chest like crazy? Leno, let's go. Gion's hand was on the ground, supported his body, bounced up, and jumped into the air, face down. She kicked the air with her feet, ripping off her marine coat. Open black lens bracket shave close black lens bracket. The sudden burst of power pushed her body, and the blade flew downwards. One shot, Kabuki, 10 umbrella arts, in the light of the knife. Gion is like an open umbrella falling down, and like a flying fairy, rolling up mad blades and turbulent currents. Leno raised his hand and slashed with the knife, the cold air spread with the blade, and a freezing cold flow flew out from the tip of the knife. The crescent-shaped slash wave is cold and condensed, and it is getting bigger and bigger. Draw the knife, crescent ice slash, frozen, talent, combined with kendo, can play a good control. Boom. Bing Zan was chopped to pieces, but Gion's falling figure was also stopped. Suddenly, Leno's figure disappeared below. The speed is so fast that it leaves afterimages. Observation Haki. Gion swung his knife sideways. Ding. Sparks flew everywhere, and the two armed colored hardened and entangled famous knives confronted each other. Chi-Chi. Two kinds of Haki, intertwined. Leno's power is undoubtedly stronger. This kind of head-on confrontation, Gion is at a disadvantage. Gion frowned, and after touching it, he backed away, holding the knife with both hands, and suddenly slashed fiercely. Leno slashed and slashed, approached Gion again, and said, "You are weaker than Kuzan." "HMPH, I won't know until after the fight," Gion said. Dang dang dang. The two were moving at high speed in this space, and while their knowledge and color predicted each other, the knives were also colliding. With every collision, sparks fly. Following Gion's new move, she was once again broken by Leno. She was sweating on her forehead, panting, staring at Leno. 720 This guy is really a monster. Holding the knife, Leno calmed his breath and said, "Aren't there any new moves?" "You." Gion was slightly angry, but he could see Leno's provocative gaze. She suddenly calmed down. She realized that Leno was targeting her from the beginning of the 6-style competition. Tell her clearly. All her moves are useless to him, she must be completely convinced. Why? Because she dug Kuina. This man, Gion smiled and said, "Kuina's departure made you very angry." "Ah, sorry. Leno narrowed his eyes and said, "Kuzan's departure also made Marine, including you, quite upset, right?" Leno and Gion, looking at each other's smiling faces, gritted their teeth, wishing they could eat each other in one bite. Poacher, heart, looks like we both want to beat each other up? Seeing the same thing, Gion threw the knife, stuck it on the ground, and said, "No knife, no Haki, let's fight." "Your strength, better than Jacken?" Nuo said. Gion squeezed his joints and said, "Strength may not be absolute, it just so happens that I am good at overcoming strength with softness." Leno saw her body, trembling like a snake, with excellent flexibility, a kind of martial art similar to jujitsu. Leno put down open black lens bracket long Q close black lens bracket and open black lens bracket Muramasa close black lens bracket. Without hesitation, he raised his hand and punched, and greeted Gion. Gion didn't hide, Her hand greeted her, but when it touched Leno's fist, it slid like soft silk. Her whole body just slid to the side, and while her hands were fixed, her long legs were wrapped around Leno's waist. In a pose on Leno's back, the other hand, along the neck, was going to lock Leno's throat. Leno catches with a backhand. Gion swims extremely flexibly. Don't give Leno the chance to attack her directly. With her move, Leno's strength has nowhere to play. This is rogue. All of a sudden, Leno thought of the successor of the ancient martial arts, fighting against the master of karate, which is similar to the one used by Gion. It's just that Gion is more flexible, she seems to have no bones and is very slippery. But you don't think you can win this way, do you? Jiu-jitsu combined with life return, infused with will, Leno slowly twisted his waist, like a twisted towel, and said, I will do it too. Gion was stunned. Leno suddenly turned his upper body, which was extremely weird and distorted, and hugged her, his arms tightened. The huge force caused Gion's chest tightness and bleeding from the corner of his mouth, so he could only drag Leno and fall to the ground. She shrank back slipperily, but was firmly pressed down by Leno, who turned around, and said with a hazy smile, Are you convinced? Gion looks gentle, but she is actually a stubborn person. She insists on staring at Leno all the time, which shows her character. In his bones, there is a ruthless determination to never give up if he fails to achieve his goal. She squinted at Leno. Obviously, because of Kuina, Leno is upset with her and wants to let her know who is the boss. The more this is the case, the less Gion wants to be subdued, she is the winner. She suddenly opened her mouth and bit Leno. Leno, who was caught off guard by the bite, stared at the smiling Gion, became furious, and bit down hard. Chapter 82 Eat Momosagi. Buggy, I'm also a dreamer. The night is dark. Shimmering trunk space. A little red light came on and a cigarette was lit. The bright red light is Leno's finger. Armament Haki is highly condensed, its temperature rises, and it rubs against the air, so it naturally arises and dies. Sanji's open black lens bracket Devil Wind Foot close black lens bracket, the principle is similar. Create flames. For Leno, it was not difficult. Cigarettes were bought by Leno from Shaki's rip-off bar, where she won't let you leave if you don't buy something. The price is still expensive. Of course Leno doesn't smoke. This is for Rayleigh, it's just that he didn't expect that he went first. Call. After the firelight became brighter, the smoke slowly spewed out, and Leno calmed down a little. With one hand, he took the cigarette over. Gion took a deep breath and brought it out. When she bit out that mouth, the situation got out of hand. Gion took a deep breath, glanced at Leno, chuckled, and said, If you want to convince me, you are still far behind. Leno said unhappily, Who begged for mercy first? Who surrendered? Gion hee. If you have the ability, you try again? Leno said. You said it. Gion threw away the cigarette, stepped forward and sat down, gritted his teeth and said, Yes, I said it, let's see who admits defeat first. She went all out today, and she couldn't take Leno down if she didn't believe it. Early morning. Sunny. At the Hot Spring Hotel, Kuina wakes up, prepares to have breakfast, and trains. Her schedule is very regular. Come outside. Saw Leno, Gion, sitting at a table in the lobby of the hotel, drinking coffee and chatting together. Good morning, Leno, General Gion. Kuina said hello, and found that Gion was not wearing her general clothes, but changed into a tighter set of long sleeves and trousers. Good morning, Kuina. How was your chat last night? Leno was refreshed and said, The chat was very good, it was a very friendly exchange, and the chat was very in-depth. Huh? Really? Kuina was a little surprised, but she didn't care, she didn't pay too much attention to interpersonal relationships. In this regard, she is somewhat similar to Zoro, and there are only two types of people in her eyes, friends and enemies. Kuina looked at Gion and said, Gion Vice Admiral, the corner of your mouth is broken, it seems that you have talked a lot. Gion smiled slightly. She subconsciously lifted her collar to cover the bite marks on her neck and the redness at the corner of her mouth. She coughed lightly and said, Well, we talked a lot, I didn't expect that Leno and I still get along quite well. She squinted and smiled, with her long legs under the table, and kicked Minuo. Then, he took a sip of coffee to hide his embarrassment. If you look closely, there are faint traces of teeth on her cheeks. As for the skin covered by the clothes, let alone. In order to win. Their battle, to the back, was quite tragic and scarred. With Gion's physique, pain is everywhere now, it's like being crushed and glued together again. Of course, Leno is pretty much the same, it's just that he is in good health and heals faster. After Kuina brought breakfast, Leno said, From now on, you'll get used to Gion Vice Admiral for 2 days. What about you? Gion asked. Kuina looked at him too. Leno said, I want to conduct special training and adjust my state so that I can face Kaido. This time, Gion didn't get to the bottom of it, and he didn't say that he would keep an eye on Leno all the time. Kuina was surprised. Think about it, it seems that they chatted very well last night. Leno is right, you need to communicate more and express your own ideas so that others can understand them better. Voila, Leno and Gion, shouldn't we communicate well? After breakfast. Gion took Kuina away and arranged for her to be an assistant, calling her a teacher-student relationship. Leave Leno alone. She also ordered that Marine remove the school without monitoring Leno. Why? Gion simply explained, because I have communicated with him and know his purpose of coming to Sabodi. He won't destroy Sabodi's land, it doesn't affect us, there's no need to waste time and experience on him. If something goes wrong, I will take responsibility. All the generals and schools were in awe when they heard the words. Sharp. As expected of Gion Vice Admiral, who obtained important information so quickly, he is a role model for me. Gion Vice Admiral, I misunderstood, I'm sorry, I shouldn't think your actions are too weak. Yes, we were wrong. You don't hesitate to protect the spirit of Sabodi at the expense of personal honor and disgrace. We are so moved. Gion Vice Admiral, please accept our apology. A group of generals stationed at the marine station in Sabodi admired Gion's ability to resolve the crisis so quickly. Gion Vice Admiral, not only beautiful, but also quite capable. That's right. What kind of hunter guild leader has only been here for a day, and he was thoroughly figured out by Gion Vice Admiral. Gion Vice Admiral Psycho. Listening to this, Gion made normal flattering words, his face darkened the whole time. You guys, go out and catch pirates for me, yes. Although I don't know why Gion suddenly became angry, everyone is in a good mood. Gion Vice Admiral is so charming when she is angry. Yes, I really want her to scold me. Hey, pervert. It's such a pleasure to finally be serving that guy instead of watching Gion Vice Admiral. That's right, that guy actually used Gion Vice Admiral as a servant, damn it, I really want to kill him. Leno naturally doesn't care what General Marine thinks. No Gion stalking. He immediately relaxed, rode on a bubble bike, and headed to the area where he had made an appointment with Rayleigh. Maybe it was last night's exchange. Recently, Leno's irritability has disappeared due to his growing body and doubled hormones. Sure enough, holding it in for a long time is bad for your body and mind. You still can't go against your physical needs. Leno is in a good mood. En route, he opened the system's prompt record. Ding. You defeated the opponent, scanning to unendowed armament Haki, SS level, dance kendo, S level, observation Haki, S level, life return, S level, marine 6 styles, free levels, song and dance, dollar level, fitness, level S, assassination, level S, generals, level A, judo, level A, wisdom I, level A. Leno smiled after seeing Gion's talent. Oh, not bad. Gion's talent is relatively balanced, but compared with Kuzan, there is still a gap. The strongest are armament Haki and kendo. Moreover, judging from Gion's talent, she is lacking in frontal combat and prefers assassination. Therefore, she can become an alternate admiral in the future, but she cannot become admiral. Looking at Marine, the standard for choosing admiral is not only to have the strength of individual combat, but also to have group attack. If you get a strong Logia fruit for Gion, she'll fill Kuzan's place. Leno thought to himself. Letting Gion become an admiral is beneficial to him, but it doesn't mean that the two will reconcile if they have a relationship. Rather, Leno heard that Sakazuki, in the Marine meeting, proposed to eradicate the Hunters Guild immediately, and actively promoted it. Although it was rejected by Sengoku on the grounds of maintaining balance. But Leno thought with his toes, and he knew that if Sakazuki became admiral, he would definitely target the Hunter Guild. Putting the Dove Gion on top can divide Marine, weaken Sakazuki. Kuzan is in his own camp though, but he still has a group of followers in Marine. Gion can be allowed to take over this group of people. In the same camp as Gion, there are Crane and Garp. As long as Gion is promising, it is not just because of the future. Open black lens bracket. Please host choose a talent as soon as possible, close black lens bracket. Leno didn't hesitate too much. Choose, dance the sword. Coincidentally, he lacks the jigsaw puzzle of kendo talent, and this sulfur monosulfide level kendo talent should be able to be integrated. Ding. Successfully copied talent. Sword dance. Introduction to talent. The way of swordsmanship combined with dance, amidst the beauty, contains murderous intentions, and amidst the splendor, takes the head. Strength. SS level, with the copying of talent. In Leno's consciousness, a beautiful figure appeared, waving a knife, and dancing with the knife. In a short period of time, he has mastered this talent. Ding. It is detected that the host has similar talents, whether the sword heart, Yixin sword, double knife swordsmanship, and dance swordsmanship are integrated, close black lens bracket. Leno was pleasantly surprised. Really, the system beeps. He didn't hesitate. Fusion. Open black lens bracket. Ding. Host, please choose one of the talents as the direction of evolution, and the rest of the talents are fusion materials, close black lens bracket. Is this still an option? Evolve, Jienshin, open black lens bracket. Ding. Start to evolve, close black lens bracket. On the system panel, a mysterious light flickered, like a rainbow, and also like an aurora, very gorgeous. The rays converged to form a Uzumaki, S rank, Kenshin. Grade A, heart sword, B level, double knife swordsmanship. SS rank, sword dance. The 4 talents, put into it, began to focus on Jienshin, entangled and merged. Although open black lens bracket dance of swordsmanship close black lens bracket is in sulfur monosulfide level talent, it doesn't match Leno's swordsmanship, so he naturally discarded it. As for sword heart, Leno obtained from Koshiro and used the most proficient talent. Upgrade open black lens bracket GN Shin close black lens bracket, it can completely enhance Leno's immediate combat power. The light of the system twists and rotates, like a starry sky, and like a black hole, devouring mysterious power. Talent is slowly melting. About 2 minutes. Open black lens bracket ding. The fusion is successful, congratulations to host for getting the talent. Master of the Sword, SS level, close black lens bracket. A brand new talent, appearing in Leno's system interface. Open black lens bracket Master of the Sword. Master of the Sect, you can accommodate all rivers and rivers, your kendo power will double, and your kendo talent will increase by 200 times, close black lens bracket. An invisible breath melted into Leno's body, becoming one with him. His eyes flashed with the light of knives and swords. It seems that the maze is broken, suddenly see the light. The talent of Swordmaster is 100 times higher than that of GN Shin. And there is one more power multiplier feature. It seems unremarkable. In fact, quite powerful. It means that the power of Leno's sword is doubled, and the attack power and destructive power are doubled. How not to be scary? Hey, boy, stop for the uncle. Leno stopped the bubble car and looked at the pirate in front of him. The pirate boss with the knife grinned. Hand over all the valuable things on your body, otherwise, don't blame us for being rude, hee hee. Sabaody Archipelago is a paradise for villains, especially illegal areas. Every minute, there's a robbery or something happens. Not everyone knows Leno, and there are far more fools than smart people in the world. It's just in time for you to come, I will try a new talent. Leno smiled, he reached for the knife. Hold, Dragon Sparrow. Grandmaster of the Sword is being blessed. In Leno's heart, he immediately felt extremely comfortable, as if he was as kind as his own flesh and blood. This feeling, just like a calligrapher touching exquisite paper, pen and inkstone. It is also like a drunkard when he has a glass of fine wine in his hand. The empty and hesitant mind immediately found sustenance. Leno is sure. I can entrust my life and everything to this knife, only the knife is the most reliable. He stood there quietly. Make your heart a knife one. Huh? This kid, are you scared and stupid? Give it to me and cut him down? More than a dozen pirates rushed towards Leno while the big man shouted. Leno closed his eyes, but his mind, through the knife, has produced a strange sense of touch. The next moment, Leno's knife was only slightly out of its sheath. Boom! The light of the knife shot out from the scabbard. The brilliant and gorgeous slash flew out, sweeping past like a tornado. Puff puff. A blood flower blooms. Quiet, deathly quiet. The pirate boss who was shouting just now stopped abruptly like a duck being strangled by the neck. He looked at the young man with a frightened face. The opponent raised his head. The pirate boss only felt that there was a murderous aura in the air, and his whole body was terrified. He was so frightened that he almost stopped breathing and sat down on the ground. His eyes turned white, and he fainted directly. Good, very powerful. Leno's knife has already been sheathed. He rode away, opened the system panel, and glanced at it. System panel, with new changes. Jianshin, Yishinjan, etc., the 4 talents disappeared. A stronger SS rank, Grandmaster of the Sword, appeared. Leno is very satisfied with the new talent. Against Kaido, the probability of winning has increased by 2 points. Leno came to the promised place with Rayleigh. Buggy is here too. The old crew reunites, Rayleigh and Buggy, to stay together last night. Judging from the dark circles under their eyes and the smell of cigarettes, they probably went to a casino. As long as people have hobbies, wine, sex, gambling, wealth, power and so on. After all, we are human beings, not saints. Especially pirates, they advocate freedom and let themselves go. It's normal to get some bad habits, Rayleigh is no exception. Rayleigh has no other hobbies, like drinking and gambling. Unfortunately, he often loses. I owe a lot of gambling debts. The condition that Rayleigh agrees to be a sparring partner is that Leno helps repay the gambling debt, which is about 50 million Baileys. Let's talk about big money. It's really not that big, Rayleigh promised himself. There is 4 billion, right? Say small money? With Rayleigh's salary, he couldn't afford it at all. In fact, as long as Rayleigh is willing to sell, this amount of money is equivalent to a pirate captain who came to Sabaody. Alas, but he would rather put himself up for auction to pay off the debt. Maybe this is the retirement life of the boss, hey, just for fun. Seeing Buggy, he also followed. Leno was surprised. Buggy, do you want special training too? What? Buggy stared, and said, could it be that in your eyes, my uncle is the kind of person who is ignorant? Leno. Is not it? Buggy was furious, and said, hey, don't underestimate me. How can I say, I'm also a crew member of One Piece? Leno blinks. This, or the Buggy he knew. Hey, Buggy, you won't, is it a replacement? Huh? What? Buggy floated his hand in midair, gave a thumbs up, and pointed at himself. Listen, Buggy, I'm also a dreamer. After Buggy finished speaking, he crossed his arms and raised his head. Proud. HMPH. Now, Leno will look at me with admiration, right? When I get more power, I will let Hunter Guild do things for me. When the time comes, what Shanks, 4 emperors. One Piece, that is the title of my Uncle Buggy, what a gorgeous transformation, ha ha ha. Buggy seems to see himself stepping on Shanks and punching the 4 emperors. Laughing wildly inside, he turned his head and found Rayleigh and Leno on the boat, talking about something. Buggy forehead. Things? Hey, you two, are you listening to me? What are you saying? What? Buggy was annoyed, waving his arms and legs, and said, damn it, you two, Buggy, want to become the sea. Hey, Buggy, sit still, fell into the sea, we will not save you. Rayleigh laughed and shook the oars. Oh, Buggy sat down quickly. Chapter 83 9 Snake Pirates, Daughter Island, Boa Hancock. Leno finds Rayleigh as a partner, naturally not a simple special training, but a real fight. To avoid attracting Marine, Rayleigh is going to take Leno to a hidden place. The boat rocked. Hey, Rayleigh, Leno, you must cut. Buggy pulled the side of the boat with both hands. He watched the sharks swimming around and swallowed. Fall down. He is a dignified Buggy god tier. In the future, he will step on Shanks and punch the One Piece of 4 emperors, and he will die young. Buggy is very afraid of seawater. That's all in the past, what Shanks did to him. Don't worry, we will save you. No, don't save me. No, I mean, don't let me fall. Buggy was nervous. Leno smiled. Buggy also needs special training, which is really beyond his surprise. To be frank, Buggy fruit, pretty good. If he had developed the fruit to the S level before, Leno would not have chosen the SS level, swinging strong luck. Torn apart, combined with the way of the sword, can be called invincible. Just a sword wave. Isn't it terrible that the island is torn apart? As long as the physical strength is enough. Definitely comparable to Whitebeard's shock fruit. Pity. In Buggy's life, the chances to reach that point are slim. How to say? He lacked a temperament, the temperament of the strong. But the funny Buggy, Tuan is a good Buggy. One day if Buggy is not funny and becomes as calm as Rayleigh, Leno absolutely doubts that he will be taken away. Leno glanced at Rayleigh. There is no doubt about Rayleigh's strength. As a training partner before the battle, it is perfect. For one, Rayleigh has a lot of experience, which is one of Leno's weaknesses. Second, Rayleigh owns Conqueror's Haki, and the strength of his Conqueror's Haki is obviously not too bad. Rayleigh narrowed his eyes, picked up the flagon, took a sip of the wine, and asked curiously, what is the purpose of your Hunter's Guild? Rayleigh is still very interested in this, and this is one of the reasons why he agreed to help. Once, he and Roger reached the final island, learned some truths, and foresaw parts of the future. Is the appearance of Leno also one of that future? Doesn't seem to be in Roger's description. Certainly, Roger's foresight is only based on what he knows, and the deduction of the future may not necessarily happen in reality. Purpose. The hunters you mentioned need goals and dreams, so what about the goals and dreams of your Hunter Guild? Leno laughed. World peace, does it count? World peace? 357? Rayleigh was taken aback. Then, laugh out loud. What about pirates? What do you think of pirates? Should there be pirates in the world? Leno asked back. So, you may be angry, but I think the dark age of pirates will eventually come to an end. It seems that you don't like pirates. Rayleigh squinted. Who likes pirates? Leno spoke bluntly, and did not make false promises just because the right hand of the One Piece King Roger was sitting in front of him. I admit that there are indeed some people who simply yearn for the sea and embark on the road of sailing. However, they are not pirates, but adventurers, navigators, and explorers. Pirate should not be synonymous with freedom, it will only be a derogatory term from beginning to end. Go and see those towns destroyed by pirates, dead parents, brothers, and sisters. Don't treat pirates as saviors just because of certain people. People with such thoughts are quite ridiculous. Let pirates rule the world. Will it be better than it is now? No, it will only be darker and more cruel. In fact, one only needs to look at the Saboti land 2 years before and after the Summit War to know the destructive power of pirates. They do not produce, only looting, like locusts. Everywhere he went was a mess. It is ridiculous to wash robbery and robber as freedom and the justice advertised by Marine. These people just transferred their pain to ordinary people to support themselves. Then why didn't you become a Marine? Rayleigh asked. Marine? It's indeed better than pirates. At least a group of people are really protecting the people. However, some are even more hateful than pirates, and some are more like loyal dogs in justice. Leno has nothing to say about Marine. Rayleigh was taken aback, laughed loudly, and said, you are a loyal dog dressed in justice. You are very similar to the members of the Revolutionary Army. Oh, don't be a Marine, don't be a pirate, Leno said. Roger opened the door to the era of great pirates, and someone will come to close it in the future. No one is forever young. but someone is always young. Rayleigh, no era is permanent. The end of a dynasty is bound to be accompanied by the rise of a new power. Leno's remarks were vigorous and decisive, exuding the vigor of young people from top to bottom. Rayleigh laughed loudly and said, "If I were 20 years younger, I would definitely compete with you. People at different ages have different views on the same thing, and even have completely opposite attitudes. 20 years ago Rayleigh was a pirate. He stands in the pirate's stand, CABG. If Leno said that, he would definitely not be happy. And now, Rayleigh is old, just a plated shipwright. Pirate career is already a memory. In addition, in these years, I have seen the pirates destroying the Saboti archipelago and the Fishmen Island. On the contrary, I agree with Leno's words in my heart. What Rayleigh appreciates is someone like Roger who yearns for the sea, yearns for freedom, and fights for freedom. It is by no means burning, killing and looting everywhere, because it is not a pirate who is doing evil. He doesn't like that kind of pirate. Rayleigh has seen many rising stars rushing to the Saboti archipelago, heading to the new world, full of hopes and dreams. But so far, only Shanks has really been recognized by him. Now, there are more sunrises. The unusual and novel thesis aroused Rayleigh's interest. Roger started the era of great pirates. Today, pirates are all over the sea, and countless people dream of getting Roger's treasure and becoming the king of pirates. Only the young man in front of him dared to say, the rise of a new power. Dared to say, loyal dog to Marine. This guy wants to surpass Roger. Rayleigh was in a daze. He seemed to go back in time, and the scene when he met Roger appeared in front of his eyes. At that time, Roger was as arrogant as Leno. "Do you want to turn the world upside down with me?" Roger said so. Although Rayleigh thought the idea was ridiculous, he ended up becoming Roger's first partner. Looking at the young Leno, who seemed to overlap with Roger. In every era, there are people who pursue their dreams. Roger. Buggy was secretly happy. Leno is not the one piece. Just right, give me Buggy, no problem, ha ha ha. Suddenly, Buggy felt something was wrong. What happened? Where is the wind? He raised his head, and the next moment, his eyes popped out and his tongue stuck out. Ah, no, comm belt. Hey, Rayleigh, are you lost? How did you get to the comm belt? Buggy was scared to death. Comm belt, One Piece world, the scariest area. Ships off limits. Rayleigh smiled and said, the place we are going to is in the comm belt. Ah, why didn't you say it earlier? Buggy cried. If I knew I was going to enter the comm belt and killed him, he would not come. Is this the comm belt? Leno looked left and right. The sky is blue and the sea is blue. It's like an oil painting. There was no wind around. The sky and the sea seem to be still, so calm that it is frightening. Only a boat is like a paintbrush. On the blue drawing paper, drag out a whitening wave. In clear sea water, the huge black shadow is looming, passing by. Leno heard that in the world government and marine, there are already ships passing through the comm belt and technology to drive sea kings away. Buggy was scared for a while, but with Leno, Rayleigh, he was actually safer than the oversized sea kings below. The three of them add up to be called the 5th Imperial Group, so it's not a problem, right? See? Buggy's eyes lit up. Leno turned his head and saw a small green dot in the direction of the boat. Ruskina Island, says Rayleigh, there was a kingdom of Ruskina. And then? Buggy asked. The country is destroyed. Huh? Why? Comm belt, man has lost to nature. Buggy swallowed, feeling that Rayleigh wasn't telling the truth, and there might be something terrifying on the island. Where is Luffy practicing Haki? Leno thought to himself, looking out. The outline of the island gradually became clear. Huge ancient trees, entwined with vines, are lush and full of vitality. Crazy. Over the forest, there are giant birds, soaring past. High-pitched whining, sharp and piercing. It's a dead world, now. Hey, what's that? Buggy asked. Leno's gaze shifted slightly. On the right side of the island, a moving black dot appeared. As the boat approaches the island, it gradually becomes larger and closer. That's a big ship. It is dragged by two huge snakes, moving forward. Leno squinted slightly. The big ship had evidently spotted them. The two giant snakes turned, dragging the big boat, gradually approaching. Okay, what a big snake. Buggy was startled. Do not worry. Rayleigh said, they are the Kuzu pirates who guard Amazon Lily. 9 snake pirates? That one joined the 7 warlords of the sea, and has the world's most beautiful pirates? Buggy said. Okay. They don't like men and keep them from their islands, but I have some friendship with them. While talking, the big ship has come not far away. The people on board saw Rayleigh. Rayleigh, long time no see. On the side of the big ship, a group of ragged women stood out. People in comm belt have had a really hard time. They can't even afford to wear a complete set of clothes, they can only cover up the key points. What a bunch of poor women. Leno sighed. Among those women, the leader was a woman with long green hair, tall, wearing a white cloak. Her head is twice as big as her body. The tongue is like a snake letter, spit out. Beside him was a black cheetah with cold eyes. Rayleigh smiled slightly. Good afternoon, Santa Sonia. are you the only one out on patrol today? Boya sang to Sonia? Is the second of the 3 Boya sisters? Call it 2 snakes for short. The 2 snakes nodded. She respected Rayleigh and said, are you going to Ruskina? Hearing Ruskina, the soldiers around her showed a bit of fear. That island has ferocious beasts, and even the 9 snakes, who are all soldiers, dare not go to the island at will. Rayleigh laughed. I'm taking 2 friends camping. Speak to your sister, Gloriosa, for me, I won't let them bother you. The 2 snakes glanced at Leno and Buggy, and when they found out that they were men, their eyes were filled with disgust. Only, because Rayleigh was there, nothing happened to her. After their ships were gone, Rayleigh, Leno, and Buggy come to Ruskina Island. Towering ancient trees, old vines climbing, grotesque vegetation, unidentifiable insects. In the distance, there are active volcanoes emitting thick smoke and giant birds soaring past. And ancient ruins hidden in the forest moss. A sense of time and vicissitudes of history. What's the matter with this horrible feeling? Buggy just finished speaking. Roar. The jungle shook, the trees broke, and a giant Madara tiger swooped out. It was 7 or 8 meters high and more than 10 meters long. Ah, help! There's a tiger! Buggy runs away. The tiger seemed to know that Rayleigh and Leno were not to be messed with, caught Buggy, and chased him wildly on the beach. Hey, Buggy, don't you want special training? Leno shouted with a smile. Huh? Is this the beginning? Buggy looked at Leno and Rayleigh, neither of them had any intention of making a move. He gritted his teeth and reached into his pocket. Eat my Buggy. Buggy swooped, dodged the tiger's claws, and threw the Buggy bullet with his backhand. Boom boom boom. The Buggy bomb exploded at the tiger's front door. Heh heh heh, how could a tiger be my opponent? Buggy smiled smugly. Rayleigh reminded. Hey, Buggy, the beasts on the island are not ordinary beasts, they're very strong. Buggy had found it without Rayleigh's warning. The tiger was washed by Buggy bullets, but it was unscathed. His Buggy bomb is specially made. A rock that can explode hundreds of caddies. This tiger's face is harder than a rock. Help, help. Buggy started running away again. In the end, it was Leno who shot and punched the tiger, making Buggy lie on the ground, panting for a while. In the next half-month, he will be here for special training? Buggy wants to cry but has no tears. What a dark future. Rayleigh took the 2 of them deep into the island and came to a strange tree. It is shaped like a big pineapple, with a smooth trunk and 6 or 7 branches on the top of the tree, forming a dense canopy. There is a wide open space ahead, no time wasted. Leno took off his windbreaker, walked to the open space, and said to Rayleigh, let's get started. I won't show mercy. Rayleigh narrowed his eyes. I should have said that. Leno flexes his muscles. Oh, young man, don't be too arrogant, let me see your physical skills first. Rayleigh laughed and disappeared in an instant. Leno's eyes rolled and he could see that Rayleigh's figure was clearly visible in his eyeballs. Laugh. Remember whip kick, abrupt side kick. Leno raised his arm just in time to block it. Leno and Rayleigh during special training on the island. The 2 snakes who left that sea area did not dare to neglect and informed Daughter Island of meeting Rayleigh. 9 snakes. 2 large characters are strikingly engraved on the cliff. On the highest mountain, there are 9 huge snake heads with their mouths wide open, showing their fangs in all directions. The towering palaces and pavilions are built along with the cliffs. The spacious and bright hall, high above the throne, entwined with huge flowers, Madara boa constrictor. It wears a crown of horned skulls on top of its head. A blue beard is wrapped around the neck, and a piece of blue is applied. And on the throne, sat a Cheongsam woman. She propped up her beautiful side face with one hand. Leaning. Legs crossed and raised. Look helpless and bored. Dark blue eyes, the eyelids drooping from time to time, as if drowsy. Boa Hancock, Daughter Island, Amazon, Lily Kingdom, current emperor. Go to sea for the first time and be invited to be one of the 7 warlords of the sea. The most beautiful woman in the world, various titles, worn on her head, gave her a charming aura. B. Hancock was in a bad mood now, except for men, there is nothing worse than reading and studying. Little Gloriosa unfolded the scroll, lectured to Hancock. It talks about the records of the words and deeds of the emperors of the past dynasties, including various strategies and measures for governing the country. This is something that every generation of emperors must learn when they take office. It's just that the people who teach are serious. People who learn, that is, don't care. If it weren't for Gloriosa, who has been nagging for a long time, Hancock wouldn't be sitting here obediently studying. It is better to say that it is dozing off than studying. Hancock yawned. Master Shiji, suddenly, someone came in. Chapter 84 The Wayward Empress Hancock. Fight Rayleigh, the Big Showdown. Sabo de Archipelago. Marine Resident Base, located in Area 66. Training Room. Guion folded his arms, watching Kuina and a Marine colonel who was good at kendo beat each other back and forth. From the side, watching Kuina's kendo, Guion has a different experience. Beside her, there are several resident instructors. When Marine doesn't go out, he doesn't stay asleep, he needs to train, all kinds of training. Sabodi Archipelago, unlike other stations, will face the onslaught of paradise pirates from 7 routes. Therefore, the Marines stationed here are all the elite of the headquarters. Those who can serve as instructors are naturally elite generals, experienced, insightful, and good at teaching. They write their own reviews. It looks like an ordinary move, but it is extraordinarily powerful. Is it the application of strength, speed, and skill to ultimate? These seem to have become her instincts. What a talent. Also, have you awakened observation Haki? Her concentration is better than others, which makes her pay more attention to knowledge related to kendo. What she lacks is actual combat experience. She is still immature, and she is too pursuing the perfect sword swing, ignoring the actual combat situation. 12 years old. You can add some lower body, waist and abdomen strength training appropriately. Before that, it is still necessary to carry out a systematic body side to evaluate and determine how she will train in the next step. Several instructors gave suggestions one after another. Marine can gain a foothold on the sea and occupy various sea areas. It is inseparable from the huge naval base, as well as supporting training, supplies, etc., a series of systematic and perfect facilities. The Hunter Guild has just started, and even if Leno proposed to build the Hunter School, it is still in the implementation stage. In this respect, it cannot be compared with Marine. Education is a time-consuming thing, it is difficult to accomplish overnight, and it is easy to control seedlings and encourage growth. Even in the future, the Revolutionary Army will cause headaches for the world government. It is also the fruit that Long has accumulated for more than 10 years since the Ohara incident 10 years ago. Emphasis on cultivating new people is the foundation for the world government and Marine to continue to maintain their dominance. And the pirate group often dies in one generation. Just the lack of a stable ruling, strong heir. Leno was unhappy, but let Kuina receive special training in Gion, and she said it herself. He was actually quite happy. Keep Kuina alive. Watch her really grow. A sense of accomplishment. Kuina began to receive systematic training, study hard, absorb nutrition, and grow vigorously. There is an emperor who is much older than her, but he is bored and distressed by the boring study. As the most beautiful woman in the world, why should I study? Hancock's delicate face was full of doubts. Calm belt, Daughter Island. Master Snake Princess. This voice, in the ear of Hancock immersed in doubt, is so sweet. It is like fairy music, heavenly music, and otherwise drowsy Hancock. His eyes suddenly lit up. She seemed to hear the bell for the end of get out of class, and she was activated all of a sudden. Outside the door, a glamorous woman walked in. She wears a high ponytail and has double slender phoenix eyes. She is Kikyo, the captain of the protector of the Amazon Lily Kingdom. In the Amazon Lily Kingdom, there is a fighting nation with only women, the 9 Snakes. This is an island inhabited only by women. When they were born, they were treated as warrior kings. Carrying all the family and labor on one shoulder, even after pregnancy, only girls will be born. Their biggest feature is that they all have a snake wrapped around their bodies, and they have the ability to transform into weapons at will. In addition, the island has an absolute norm of men's ban, established hundreds of years ago. That is, once a man enters Daughter Island, he must be eliminated. Of course, because it is located on the calm belt, there are dangers such as super-large sea kings, and few ships can approach it. Even if they get close, they will be counterattacked by the country's foreign armed forces, the 9 Snake Pirates. Haki, very rare in the Paradise section. But in Daughter Island, it is the Emperor of Power that everyone must practice. Although they are women, Ultimate advocates strength and believes that strong strength is the real beauty. Boa Hancock is the only one with Conqueror's Haki qualification among all the fighters on the island. So, she and her 2 sisters, after being brought back by Gloriosa 4 years ago, soon became the new emperor of the country. That's right, choose the emperor. That's it, capricious. With strength, you can do whatever you want. Seeing Kikyo, Hancock sees a savior. Kankyo, do you have any enemies? Waiting for Kikyo to answer, Hancock had already stood up from the throne and said in an absolute and affirmative tone, there must be enemies, right? Kikyo was dumbfounded. No, but before Kikyo finished speaking, Hancock had already run away. I'll deal with the enemy first, Snake Princess Tianping? Kikyo turned her head and looked at Hancock, who ran away. Dumbfounded, she still didn't say a word. She looked back at Gloriosa. In Gloriosa's wisdom, where is it not seen that Hancock would rather meet enemies than learn? She shook her head helplessly. Hancock has great potential. It's a pity that her behavior doesn't look like a Mingjun. Another willful one. Seeing Hancock disappear, Gloriosa sighed and asked, Kikyo, what are you going to do? Kikyo has a stable personality, and she can handle small things by herself and won't bother Hancock. Is it true that there are foreign enemies invading? Do not, Kikyo said. It's Lord Sandersonia. She met Lord Rayleigh in the waters near Ruskina. Oh, Gloriosa is no stranger to Rayleigh. After all, before Hancock, Shaki, the last emperor of the Amazon Lily Kingdom, had a close relationship with Rayleigh. Kikyo said. Master Sandersonia said that Lord Rayleigh brought 2 men to camp there. Gloriosa took the staff and tapped the ground. Really, it seems that he brought people up there not long ago. What's it called? Shanks, Baker Jong. Is it them again? Kikyo said. No, it's someone else, it's just. What? Long Dan said. The trench coats those two people are wearing have the badges on the newspapers you read, Kikyo said. Genshin is a sniper of the 9 Snake Pirates, with excellent eyesight. Badge? Gloriosa took out the newspaper and said, is this it? Probably, yes. She said that inside the circle is a ferocious dragon, and it should be this. Hunter Guild? Surprised, Gloriosa asked, have they started marching towards the Grand Line? She is the most intelligent person on Daughter Island. Wisdom, strategy, and foresight. She has foresight about major events. At the World Summit last year, it was not long before the Shichibukai plan was presented. She just engineered an encounter and made Hancock one of them, so as to obtain the legal right to plunder and not be invaded by Marine. In the original plot, before the Summit War, she foresaw the Whitebeard incident. So, after Kuzan's defeat, Gloriosa is quite concerned about Hunter Guild, especially the promotional content of Hunter Guild. Judging from her experience of serving as the Amazon Lily King and living for so long, Hunter's Guild has a complete concept since its establishment, a novel organization that is different from pirates. She is very clear that those seemingly simple purposes, conditions, and rules are the vital soul of an organization. The people who built it, from the very beginning, knew what they wanted, had a clear goal, and fought for it. This is like a clear stream in an era of great pirates where everyone is for open black lens bracket One Piece close black lens bracket. It will definitely attract a group of people, those who are trapped by the times and are in a state of confusion. Sure enough, Kuzan joined. Gloriosa believes that there are more people who are still watching and want to see more clearly. As long as the banner of Leno does not fall, there will be more in the future, people like Kuzan will join. The Shichibukai franchise, legally plundered, won't last long, and we, perhaps, need some new bets. Gloriosa is very clear that the privileges of 7 warlords of the sea can be given and taken back, and they will not be permanent. Hancock, that willful temper again, is really worrying. Well, Granny knew. I saw Master Snake going out to sea, do you want to stop? Kikyo looked out from the window. A ship sails out of port. Gloriosa thought for a moment, shaking her head. For Rayleigh, don't worry, it's fine, but Snake Princess's temper is getting worse and worse, which makes people worry. She still remembers that Hancock, who had just returned to Daughter Island, was a person who lived in fear and had a low self-esteem. Just 4 years. Change, from low self-esteem, to arrogant, self-willed, unscrupulous, growing up like a tyrant. Going from one extreme, to the other, gave Gloriosa a headache. Ruskine Island. Chi-chi, boom boom boom, in the sound of fierce fighting. The smoke and dust soared into the sky, scaring away a large number of birds and animals. These two guys, aren't they scary? Buggy ducked away. He looked up, but he couldn't see the people in the fight clearly. The figures of Leno and Rayleigh are moving at high speed, and every confrontation sparks Haki's light. There are flying fallen leaves, broken giant trees, and scattered sand and stones, which shoot out like bullets from time to time. This made Buggy terrified. If he was hit, it would hurt for a long time. His arm is still swollen. Boom. The sky was thunderous. Leno's and Rayleigh's fists collided in midair, and the punches and kicks were instant. Chi Conqueror's Haki releases energy and collides with brilliant light, shocking all ecology on the island. Both possess the Conqueror's Haki, which predicts each other's moves. Suddenly, in Leno's mind, 2 seconds after Rayleigh appeared, he would suddenly change his moves. Knowing the color, predicting the future, almost without warning. Leno kicked out, and just caught Rayleigh's momentary stiffness before changing his move. Boom. Armed with color, powerful kicks, and air explosions. Rayleigh's expression changed. Zero looking for flowers. It is almost instinctive to concentrate the armed color on the kick place. Boom. Like a drum, Rayleigh flew out. Boom. An ancient tree 300 meters high and more than 10 meters thick was smashed from Vice Admiral by Rayleigh, who fell like a cannonball. Suddenly, Rayleigh disappeared, and Leno appeared in his place, kneeling in the crack in the ancient wood. Click. The tall ancient tree was completely broken and fell down. Looking at the falling canopy, Buggy stuck out his tongue in fright and moved left and right frantically. Boom. SS rank. Open black lens bracket swinging strong luck close black lens bracket, talent is shining. Buggy buried himself in it just like aiming at the falling point of the tree. Whenever he made a mistake, he was safe and sound. Ah, pain, pain, my leg. Torn apart. Buggy waved his hand, the tree branch split open, his upper body flew out from the canopy, his anger exploded. You too, don't you see the big Buggy? Pay attention to me, hey. Curse to curse, Buggy's lower body, torn apart, ran out from under the tree trunk and spliced with the upper body. Sorry. Rayleigh smiled and apologized to Buggy. He looked at Leno, scratched the back of his head, and said, "Can you predict the future?" Right. Leno nodded. Surprise is really strong, but to deal with Kaido, you have to break his defense first. Rayleigh reminded. That guy's body, even if it doesn't rely on the color of the weapon, is pervert like fishy. Back then, in the Battle of the Valley of the Gods, Garp teamed up with the Roger Pirates to defeat the Rocks Pirates. Rayleigh had a brief encounter with Kaido. At that time, Kaido was fledgling, but he was already impressive. After the collapse of the Rocks Pirates, it was a short period of time for Roger, Golden Lion, Captain John and others to compete. At that time, Kaido disappeared for a while, and when Rayleigh knew his name again, it was after the disbandment of the Roger Pirates. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin successfully carve up the territory of Golden Lion and become the second of New World 4 emperors. After that, Kaido started his own one-on-one journey, constantly attacking other 4 emperors groups and Marine alone. Although he was defeated again and again, he was amazed by the world and praised as the strongest creature in the world by virtue of his immortality. No one wants to provoke him. There is no way, and you can't kill him, and he comes to block your house when he is free or not. He is a rascal and annoying. Although Rayleigh has retired, he is in Sabaody, and he knows Shaki, an intelligence dealer, and he knows Kaido quite well. Your armed color is very similar to Garp, but there seems to be something missing, Rayleigh said. Leno raised his eyebrows. He also had a similar feeling, and said, it's clear to the bystanders, why don't you try again? His armament Haki, copied from Garp, is SSS level, but Leno always feels that it has not reached it yet. It's not that the intensity is not enough, but what is ignored. This is also the purpose of Leno's training with the welfare department. Fans of the authorities. No matter how smart he is, he will inevitably fall into the misunderstanding of self-cognition. He is in Yamanaka and cannot see the whole picture of the mountains and forests. Rayleigh nodded and said, release all your weapons and attack me, I need to experience it myself. It is good. Leno took a breath, his gaze concentrated. SSS level, armament Haki talent, blooming the brightest light, releasing all the armed colors on the body. An invisible momentum rose from Leno's body, his hair stood upside down, and his clothes bulged. His whole body hardened with the color of his weapons, showing hot red, like hot, red-hot copper. Not only that, wisps of armed color spilled out and wrapped around his body, like flames of arrogance. On the outermost layer, there is an invisible defense like armor. That was the release of armament Haki, and even the surrounding air and space were filled with his armament Haki. Thus forming the actual armament Haki shield, Call. Leno exhaled slowly, filling his body with unparalleled strength. A strong wind blows. Rayleigh's white hair fluttered, his eyes were squinted, and his heart was shocked. This guy, what's going on? At his age, Garp definitely doesn't have such a powerful armed color, no wonder he dares to fight Kaido. I have to do my best, otherwise, the old bones won't be able to handle it. Rayleigh's smile was restrained, his expression was solemn, and strands of armament Haki were released from his body. Rayleigh's armament Haki is pure black, as thick as ink, covering the body with a metallic luster. Make him like a Shinigami. Almost simultaneously, Leno and Rayleigh attack each other. Boom! The sky exploded and the island shook. There are not too many moves, the pure armed color collides and shoots the brightest light, dazzling like the sun. Impressive. Buggy rode on an elephant and fled with countless beasts. Under the feet of the two, the ground split open and spread rapidly. The volcano in the distance spewed out magma. The confrontation between Kuzan and Sakazuki destroys Punk Hazard and changes the landscape and climate there forever. Leno and Rayleigh shot with all their strength, and the power was equally astonishing. The power on the island fluctuated and swept the waves. What happened? Look at that island. Hancock and the members of the 9 Snake Pirates looked at the island in shock, and Haki's light shot up into the sky, forming a mushroom cloud to right.